Who's Roger?
Roger Predictor. Ta-da! Greetings, pop pickers. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the laryngitis special. I've been practicing my full-throated Rob Halford all week, so my voice is shot to hell. I was hoping it would be better by today, but it's still expiring. But, you know, we'll still have some rockin' fun on the music special. This week, we talk a little bit music in the show anyway, but we thought we'd make this one just about the music, you know, and that special corner of the fandom, us music nerds, because we've got a lot of comic nerds and a lot of sci-fi nerds, a lot of movie nerds. This is the music nerds, and we were just as fandom as the rest of them. So,
who you call a nerd?
Nerd geek, and the handsome. My first guest for the day, the handsome and beautiful Paulie from the wonderful Latino Slant.
Welcome, why,
Paulie.
Hey, you got to pay for that, man. Why are you stealing my shit?
I do pay for it every month.
Oh, you know what? You're right. Okay, all you guys are members of the Slant. That's right. Except for Salty. Hey, can I curse?
Oh, jeez. Yeah,
can I curse?
No.
Why the fuck aren't you a member of the Slant, dude?
Of course you can curse,
dude. I'll tell you what, because I forgot, and well, since you slow rolled that, how can I say no to such a beautiful, well put together pitch?
Right now, you're like compelled to do it. Hey, and Brian, how many countdowns does it take to start a stream?
2 for me, because I haven't edited the 10 one out yet. You know, I don't have a producer like you. I'm a one-man show, so let me introduce the other guests before you derail us even further. I would like to welcome Corey, Salty Texas C, to the show.
Yeah.
Wrong one. Hey. This is your one here. Because I don't have one specially for you.
That's okay. I will take Angus Young any day of the week. Thanks so much for the invite. That's 70 Paulie. It's great to see you again. I will subscribe to your channels, but I'm going to ask you the same question. Why aren't you subscribed to my channel, Paulie?
No, I didn't say subscribe. I said be a paying member.
That's what I mean too. Well, why aren't you a member of my channel?
What do you got to offer?
Because it's all about the pesos.
Top quality content.
I need some more bells and whistles, man. I need some more stimulation.
I got a puppet from Canada that shows up sometimes and sometimes says funny things. You can't get that anywhere else. Courtney, what's going on?
We go to our It's Courtney, and I believe I have one for you, Courtney.
Courtney.
It's a short one though.
That was a good one.
Hello.
Hey, Courtney.
How are you guys doing?
Courtney, I'm so pleased you joined us today because you are a music goddess, if I may put it that way.
Oh, well, thank you.
Not only do you know your stuff, but you can play your stuff.
I could I still can, not as well. A little rusty.
Oh, I think you can still do it. You can still bring it. You rock. So thank you for joining us, and there will be a couple of other guests popping in, but I just want to say hello to some people in the chat before we go any further. So we actually have all the way from Japan, and I'm going to not mispronounce this if I can, Wakazashi's Tea House.
He's a great guy. He's a great guy. He's going to be on my show tomorrow night along with Maxfield Von Priestley. Good guy.
Ah, nice. Well, we've been chatting about Cheap Trick at the Budokan. So that's good. And we have the Wrenchmensch Eric K. We have the wonderful Purple Valkyrie. Nice to see you, my dear. We have Zach, Brightest Day. I think I missed some people earlier. Lindsay, the Cynical Geek, who's welcome to come on the show. I just didn't have a way of contacting you, Lindsay, but we'll figure that out. Kitty Bear, Crazy Dutch Bastard, the Shadow Band is here. And Nono Mass, very regular watcher. Thank you for coming. One Man Show, we have Darth Scipio. Who else have we got? Wookiee Supremacy. Nice to see you, mate. If I miss anyone, I'll catch up with you later. And Mark D with a C. Wonderful chap. Yes, so we will catch up with those guys in the chat in a little while. So what I wanted to do was give each of you a chance to just kind of kick things off with how you kind of got into music back in the day. What was your earliest recollections of getting really excited by hearing music for the first time? I know for me it was sitting listening to the radio on my mother's radio in the kitchen and hearing Penny Lane playing. That's one of my earliest memories. And going, ooh, what's this? You know, what were the first records you bought? Just those kind of experiences. First gig you went to, and you know, not that it has to be prescriptive, but just share with the audience just what your music nerddom started and how it started. So I think, Paulie, I'd like you to kick off with that one. How did you get into this thing we call music?
Well, in my pueblo in Mexico, we only shared one guitar and a bongo. And my pet monkey played the guitar and I played the bongo.
Was that pueblo perhaps in East LA rather than Mexico? Or?
It was a Scottish pueblo known as El Whiskio.
El Whiskio. El Pisto.
No, man. Single child, single parent. So it was really, my mom's music as far as what she was listening to. And what I was exposed to with her music was it's music that's still with me, from Jackson Browne, Linda Ronstadt, Jimmy, Beatles, Carole King, Loggins and Messina, a lot of that. That's like that first hit. And then in Spanish, he had everything from Los Panchos to mariachi, a little bit of mariachi, not a lot. More like oldies, more like Chicano soul stuff in English.
So there was a lot of singer-songwriter material there. I guess your mother was into.
She was, yeah. Was she? Yeah. She's still alive, but yeah, she was a singer as well, so that made sense.
Right. So,
yeah, man.
I mean, that's similar to me in that it was really my mother and literally her having the radio on or putting records on that got me listening to music, and that for me was like a lot of it was Beatles stuff or other 60s pop music, but there was earlier stuff because she was into the 50s. She was into the crooners, Frank Sinatra's, Dean Martin's, and so on as well. So there was a lot of that material. And from my father, he was into what they call Scottish country dance music, which was all accordions and fiddles and stuff and whatever. So, but yeah, parents' big influence. Older siblings. I don't know if you had older siblings, Paulie, but
only child.
Only child. That's right. You said that. So, so it was really parents for you. But Corey, how about yourself? Similar experience, parental influence, or?
Oh yeah. Yeah. Oh, I wasn't sure.
Sorry, Corey. Sorry.
Okay. Sorry, Courtney. Yes. Sorry.
Courtney can wait.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Anything I can do to keep the patriarchy going. Yeah. Let's have her wait. No, actually, my dad. My dad was a DJ in a small local AM radio station back in the early 70s. And he, drove around, cool guy with his convertible Mustang, and always blasting rock and roll. And so some of my earliest memories were going to this tiny little studio, in the middle of nowhere in rural America to watch my dad cue up records and listen to the music.
Nice.
I heard a lot of great things. Elvis was always on. The Eagles always on. A lot of that. The Beatles, of course. My parents had a huge vinyl collection, and I used to play it on those big console stereos. If you guys remember that from the 70s, those big 8-foot wooden monstrosities that were stereos.
Oh, yeah.
So music, I've just always been a part of my life. My brother's a musician, my sister's a musician. I play a little guitar. The very first album that I bought, saving up money from a paper route, was Little Guitar.
Piquito.
Yes. Un poquito guitarro.
That's cool.
No, so, yeah, dude, and I bought my first record. It was Journey Frontiers with my paper route money, and I loved that album so much. Journey was probably, to me, the gateway drug for a lot of really great rock and roll in the 80s.
So you went straight to albums. You didn't buy 7-inch singles first.
Well, I bought those too. I bought a lot of them. Those were a lot easier, but this was an album, and it felt, I remember holding it. It felt real, and it also back then, you had to earn your money as a kid, so if I was going to spend $7 on something, I made sure I was going to get something for it, so
that's cool.
But I had a couple 45s. I mean, I think everybody did from the early 80s, Men at Work, Who Can It Be Now, Come On Eileen, by Dexys Midnight Runners.
Dexys.
Such a good one.
Dude, all that stuff, but yeah, and I still behind me have a pretty large vinyl collection.
Something you mentioned there about the AM radio station. One thing you guys in North America were lucky with, unlike us Brits, is you had a lot of choice there. So when I was a kid, it was BBC Radio, the Light program, which then eventually became Radio 1 grudgingly in 1967. It took them till 1967 to have a pop radio station on the BBC. Before that, you got 2 hours a day. And then you had 1 or 2 local AM stations, and then eventually a local FM. So we had very little choice for radio.
Wow.
You had to take what you got. I think you guys had a much better experience, probably dozens of stations to choose from.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that. Were jukeboxes big in the pubs at all, or no?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah, even if you think back to 1963, 64, when the Beatles were huge in Britain, you had one radio station nationally that would play those songs. It wasn't like you could go to 10 different stations, and so you had to really pick. And when rock music became more serious, you had to really pick your show. There might be one show a week that had 2 hours of new music. The rest was it was just truly a pop station that would play the hits, and that's it. So anyway. So, Courtney, tell us about your introduction to the satanic dark world of rock music.
I was introduced very, very, very early on. My dad was a Deadhead, Grateful Dead fan. So apparently, I don't remember the first, 100, according to him. Apparently, I was taken around the Grateful Dead shows and toured when I was a baby. And then my mom was an aerobics teacher in the 80s. So I would always be going to Sam Goody with her every Saturday, and we'd pick up 7 inches to make mixtapes for her aerobics routines.
Yes.
So I was all used to, I'm on blast side. So I was used to, the 80s, I know all the 80s music, but Madonna and Cyndi Lauper and stuff like that. Every girl's kind of, what we were into. And then, I just got into music on my own after that. I played music starting at age 5, and I picked up an electric bass finally after playing piano and clarinet. And I I wanted to be like one of the cool female bass players. I wanted to be
Nice.
like
Susie
Kim Gordon.
Quattro. She was a bass
Oh, she's
player.
cool too. I wanted to be like Kim Gordon though from Sonic Youth. I thought she was awesome.
Oh,
And
totally.
yeah.
Very
And
cool.
so I started playing in like punk bands and stuff. And then I went to college for music. And then I had a booking company and played in bands and yeah, everything.
So you've seen
I went to a ton of
multiple.
concerts growing up.
You've seen multiple facets of music. You've been a fan.
Yes.
You've played. You've been in the business. You've seen the good, the bad, and the ugly.
And I taught it. Yeah.
You taught it. What about your earliest purchases, though? I mean, what kind of things did you buy when you started buying records?
When I really started buying my own stuff, I want to say that I bought the DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince.
Oh wow!
Summertime. Or,
Parents just don't understand. And, yeah, I want to say that was like my first that I remember buying, but I mean, because everything else was like my mom would buy, and I would just listen to it with her, all the '80s stuff.
Yeah.
And then in like 7th grade, I started really getting into different, they called it like we were freaks back then, but alternative music. And I remember I bought 9 Inch Nails and God, what's that album called? Why did I just draw a blank?
Jane's Addiction
matter. And Red Hot. Well, I saw Jane's Addiction too.
Okay.
Okay. And Red Hot Chili Peppers, Blood Sugar Sex Magic, and then the summer between I think it was like 8th grade and 9th grade maybe, I went to Lollapalooza and I got to see Red Hot Chili Peppers, Ministry, Pearl Jam, and that kind of kicked off like all of my, I don't know, getting into seeing shows. Then it was all punk rock after that. I was a bad teenager.
Cool, very cool. So, Paulie, what were your first purchases that you could recall in terms of actual vinyl? And it would be vinyl, I'm assuming.
Look, it's the Flavors of 32.
Oh, I'll introduce them in a minute. You can wait.
Oh.
I want to hear from you.
Oh, okay. Telling me what to do.
Well, it's my show.
So here's Edie Gourmet and Los Panchos.
Oh, wow, Edie Gourmet.
Oh, wow.
Right. So growing up, I always thought she was a Chicana, because I was like, she's with the Mexicanos, doing these beautiful, like very famous, ballads. And there's always been different iterations and covers of these songs, like Amor, Nosotros, Historia de un Amor. Oh my God. Then I grew up later and I found out she's like, half Jewish, half Turkish. Incredible. This is a must for all Mexican American households in the States. And we would listen to this on our road trips to Arizona.
Would you say that was cultural appropriation or a great sign of diversity?
No, that was I mean, that was in the 60s.
Yeah.
So Edie and Steve Lawrence, her husband, were like real big, kind of like that Vegas. I
remember seeing them on television a lot back in the 60s.
When she did several albums with Los Panchos, and Los Panchos are like, they're generational family musicians. It's like you don't get more legit than that. So no, it wasn't like it was a very good pairing. It was done very, nice. It still holds up, diversity done right.
Yeah. Well,
back then it wasn't that though. It was something different.
No, people appreciating good music and wanting to make it themselves. Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Oh, that's cool.
And I highly recommend anyone that kind of wants to get into like that it's like the gateway for that type for just music in Spanish, because it's they're ballads, but the guitar work is beautiful, the harmonies, because it's 3 dudes and her. Oh, dude, yeah, beautiful.
Nice. That's a good one. Nice to hear about. So yes, we do have another.
Grab some stuff that way I can show you.
Indeed, and I think Salty's got some stuff to show, and
nice.
I got a couple of things, and Courtney I'm sure has too. But we'll introduce our latest extinguished guest to the channel, to the show.
As I suspected, 32 flavors.
It is the very wonderful Nickweiser.
Finally, the Nickweiser has come back to That 70s Rock Band Show.
Second time guest. Yes, thank you, buddy.
Yes, it is a pleasure to be a repeat. How you doing?
I am wonderful apart from the throat, but other than that, I'm great. I'm very, very happy. Life is good. How are you, mate?
Good. I'm good, man. I'm happy to be on here despite my day of, doing stuff around the home, trying to get in an extra rewatch of Major League, doing some...
Oh, I'm watching that after this show.
Oh, nice. And of course, I got yelling at parked cars tonight. So, staying busy, being dad, being boyfriend, being home liver. It's all the good stuff in life. So,
nice.
But yeah, dude, this is a panel clearly about music, which funny enough, I did one myself yesterday, and it's nice to now do 2 of them in 2 days. So let's get to it.
Stoked that you could come on because I think we've all got a slightly different era, slightly different perspective. I've mid-60s, early 70s is my formative music years. Paulie just a little bit behind that. Not much because he's pretty old. Salties is a little bit behind that. Courtney was more the sort of the late 80s, 90s wave. You're more of the metal head side, so we've got a really good mix here. But yeah, for you, what are your earliest memories of really listening to music and going, hey, that's something. I like that.
So this is gonna be very funny, actually.
Yeah.
Originally, I hated music.
That's great.
I hated it.
And then you had to get music conversion therapy.
And my issue was the boy band era. I hated it with a boiling passion.
God.
I was around 4th and 5th grade. I'm like, this is awful. I don't want to listen to this. And it drove me up a bloody wall. I hated it. And
what were boy bands for you though?
The NSYNC, Backstreet Boys, all those bands, Boys to Men. I remember that era, and it drove me crazy. I was not about it. And of course, obviously I'm half Puerto Rican, so there's a lot of Puerto Rican family, and I started paying attention to what they were putting out at the family parties, probably around like 6th grade, and I wouldn't say I fell in love with it, but it was a nice big relief from the boy band. So I'm like, okay, there's at least some energy to this. And I had gotten kicked out of a public school, and I got put in a private school. And when I was in this private school, I met a friend named Matt, and he had burned me a few albums. And one of them was Pantera, Vulgar Display of Power, Slayer, Rain and Blood. Yes, that happened at private school. And he gave me a Hatebreed album, Perseverance. And I think there was Metallica, Ride the Lightning. There's a few more. And I'm like, okay, let's see what's going on with these. And for some reason, I didn't listen to the Slayer one. I don't know why. It wasn't like I was afraid of it or anything like that. I just didn't get around to it. But I was really digging what I heard from like Pantera, Hatebreed, Metallica, System of a Down, stuff like that. But I started getting more curious, and then I saw a DVD for Slipknot, and they had a DVD titled Disaster Pieces, and it was cool to see a bunch of dudes en masse be also super brutal. But this is before they went diet with their sound, and I was just like, okay, this is awesome, this is great, it's totally heavy. But then, obviously, I saw the artwork to Rain and Blood in a proper CD at a Best Buy when they're still selling CDs. And the very first second I heard Angel of Death and all 4 minutes and 51 seconds of that song, I was like, holy shit, this is faster than lightning. Tom Araya's, his singing was so fast, but you could enunciate each and every single word he was saying. And the fact that you had those mean evil guitars from Jeff Hanneman and Kerry King, and then you have Dave Lombardo on the drums. He had more of a punky style, but playing metal. It blew my mind. And before I know it, it was the last track, the 10th track, titled Raining Blood. And it was 28 minutes of gloriousness. And we were in my buddy's car listening to that. We just drove around and just listened to it again. Before I knew it, every night started becoming smash my head against the wall, bash a beer can against my head, and put on some Slayer. And if I'm lucky, pass on a Tupperware box, maybe pass out outside by the bonfire. I was just, Slayer, escalated the game for me. They escalated it. And I was like, I wanted everything and anything from them. And I was the guy, at school, like anytime I saw a youngin wearing a Slayer shirt, I didn't just say Slayer in the hallway. I screamed it. It got around so much that there was
I remember you. I remember you.
There was a newspaper article. There was a newspaper article at the school, and it showed this drawing of a kid with long hair wearing a Slayer shirt. And I talked to the person who worked on that, and they said that was supposed to be me when they drew that. And then you look at the yearbook, and it said memorable quotes, and under my name, it had Slayer attached to it with all the 800 exclamation points.
Yeah.
And yeah, that was when they were starting to take it off after high school.
I'm surprised you didn't get done for domestic terrorism shouting that in a crowded high school. Slayer!
Oh, dude, I'm sure I probably pierced a few ears because I'd say like every day while drinking a liter of Mountain Dew.
Oh, well, there you go.
Dude, it was 2 Liter Tuesday, man.
Yeah.
2 Liter
It's
Tuesday.
a great journey to go from not really liking music into something, such a specific genre and loving it. I guess you just hadn't heard the right stuff until a certain point. Then it suddenly grabbed you. You know?
Yeah. Is that funny how that happens? Like, yeah, obviously there's more to the trajectory, but I'll get to that. Well, if we need to get to that point.
Oh, we will.
All right.
Yeah.
That was the start of starting to take music seriously. And I guess you could say it was becoming my life per se.
Yeah. And that's what I was kind of alluding to at the beginning when I say this is a part of the fandom in our fellowship here that we don't necessarily talk enough about, that some of us were really music heads.
Mm-hmm.
I thought about nothing but music, listened to everything I could listen to, read every music paper, and that was in the days you had the NME, Record Mirror, and they were actual papers.
Mm-hmm.
Every magazine, I'd all weekend I'd just hang around every record store in the city, and figure out how to spend my £5 in paper round money or pocket money in what am I going to buy for that money, you know? And it was like that for years. That and science fiction books for me, but music was my life.
I remember in the 80s when songs, when that new song would come out and you'd hear it on the radio and you'd lose your mind and you'd go and get a blank cassette tape, roll it out so the tape was showing, and then wait for the DJ to stop talking to see if that was going to be if you could get that song off the radio. It's just, I felt the same way, man. I mean, I wish I would have kept a lot of those tapes I had from the early 80s that had the commercials.
Big regret of mine is getting rid of all that. And there was such good material in some of that. And then also with I had thousands of these music magazines and papers. And when I moved to North America, I said, I can't take them. I got rid of them all. Yeah. And I bitterly regret it now. I've maybe got a couple of boxes left. And they're all from the 70s as well. And there's some great stuff in them. Lesson is never get rid of anything.
So I have learned.
I see a music publication that was like all newspaper, but it was in a magazine form called Maximum Rock and Roll. Do any?
I used to buy that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I would go to Borders. That was like the only place that you could get it at, or the one local record store actually had it too.
Excuse me.
But that's where we used to we talk about that and a lot of fanzines. Basically, back in the day, that people would make.
Fanzines were great. Self-published fanzines, even made before the days of home printers. This was before that when I started buying them. They were printed on people at actual printing presses made their fanzines. They would hand them out in the streets, or you buy them for 25 pence. Especially in the new wave era, there was a ton of that. And it was fun. I mean, it was like people that buy toys now or collect toys. I collected that stuff.
Yeah,
and it was a lot of fun. So I have it's funny you mentioned somebody mentioned cassettes. Salty.
Me.
I bought 7-inch singles. First one I ever bought was the Monkees' Daydream Believer. But I didn't have enough money to really I didn't have my own record player. My brother did, wouldn't let me use it. So I got a cassette player and I was into cassettes. And then still to this day have the first cassette I ever bought, which was the Shadows' Greatest Hits. It's a British instrumental band.
Wow.
They did all these, did Apache and stuff like that.
Wow.
And I have the next two, which was the Beatles' Red and Blue albums.
Oh, yeah.
And I played these to death. This is when I was about maybe 10 years old. Great stuff. But the cassettes were my thing because I had a cassette player. I could record off the radio, record off television. I would hold the microphone up to the TV and record Top of the Pops. I regret not having all those now, of course.
Yeah.
So it was, cassettes were a big thing for us young chaps on a budget.
Well, you remember how the Sony Walkman, how being able to have that little portable cassette thing and those poofy over the head headphones. You remember that, the orange foam or the black foam ones, and it was so novel in the 80s to sit there and walk around being able to listen to a cassette
Sennheiser
using batteries. It's crazy.
Yeah, that was a big liberating feature, but I had a reel-to-reel tape recorder as well, which I used to record off the TV, stuff off the TV. I think those tapes still exist at my mother's.
My parents had one of those.
Yeah, but
man. That's what mixtapes were all about. That's all I did when I was little.
Oh, they were great.
Mixtapes were awesome. That's such a lost art. Actually, Tony Nassau, someone who has a YouTube channel, made me a mixtape, so to say, like playlist, because we had a whole conversation about mixtapes, and I was like, nobody does that for each other anymore.
No, I do the occasional digital one.
Yeah,
but I used to do them all the time. In fact, my current Mrs. Rock fan, when we met 25 years ago, I went home that night and I made her a mixtape.
I used to do that. I did that same thing with girlfriends in the 90s. Oh, yeah. It worked. It worked.
Yeah.
It worked. Yeah. I'm not sure she ever played it, but the thought counted. It's the thought that counts. But,
of course.
And just while I'm talking about me, I still have the first. I used to buy albums like cheapy compilation albums. They had KTEL 20 hits.
Yeah.
I had a lot of those. But I was very proud of myself one day when I actually bought a real album. And it was this one. I still have it. Joe Walsh.
Oh, yeah.
But seriously, folks, I still have this one today with Life's Been Good on it. So,
I'm so jealous of your vinyl.
Many others have gone by the wayside, but I still have this one.
Nice.
And it was downhill all the way then, because I bought thousands of albums after that. So what about gigs, guys? I mean, I know. My first.
You said something about this fan. I wanted to interrupt just because, I started off the channel and I continue to do the channel. We have a lot of music-based content. So
yes, you do.
Great stuff.
If anyone in the fandom that wants to find about new music, I have tons of playlists I have tons of mixtapes on the channel, and in regards to music from all over Latin America and the States. So yeah, man.
Well, I can
Paulie,
testify.
hit me up. I want you to teach me. Hit me up, Paulie. I would love for you to share that with me. That would
sure.
be cool.
Memberships start at $4.99 a month.
Well, I can testify as a Generalissimo member level.
That 70s will pay for it. Don't worry.
Paulie puts on live gigs.
Right.
Well,
what we do is we have about once a month, we'll actually have a live concert for the members.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes, and then they'll branch off. But like I and a lot of those musicians or bands are like independent artists themselves, which is a whole nother thing that everyone here supports, which is independent creators.
That's a great point, Paulie, because I think that's the one thing that sustained music in this corporate era is these independent acts who still play live. You can still see them in clubs. They're still making original music. And I think that there's still people say rock is dead. I don't think it is. I think it's just gone, the truth. It's gone underground a bit.
Yeah, you just
And
gotta go and find it. You can't. It's
Yeah.
not gonna be put in front of you. You gotta go and seek it out yourself, and that's how it was for a lot of the smaller bands
Yeah.
in the '80s. Like, because
Oh, yeah.
obviously there was stuff that had big label attention, so it was easy for them to be accessible. But there's a lot of bands where they didn't have great labels. They didn't know what they were stepping into. They just want to say, "Hey, we're signed," but they didn't realize the contracts that they were signing because they didn't realize the contracts that they were signing. A lot of labels took advantage of that, and they would not get promoted. They would get screwed on deals. So, and a lot of those bands, like I guess the best example you can use from the Bay Area, the '80s, one called Death Angel. They were all a bunch of young lads per se from the Bay Area, and they had signed a really bad contract, and they had got some good gigs, but the label would not promote them. And then they split up, and by the time they split, they're only like 20. Now they reformed in the YouTube era, and a lot of people have discovered them since then because, like, hey, where's this band from? And that's what's the great about YouTube, because all these bands who didn't get recognition then now are having a chance at a second win, and they saw these people were listening to Death Angel on YouTube. Now these Filipino rockers are all back together for the last 15 years, and they're having this second wave, and that's awesome. And that's one of the advantages of the YouTube era is having people like, hey, who were these guys back then that no one seemed to care about that now people seem to love?
Hey, Nickweiser, let me ask you this. Do you find that these bands from before you would never thought you would have this access to, and now because of the times have changed, like the access is right there now, huh?
Oh, it's crazy. And like, I get it why people knock on the internet, because they're obviously, the whole downloading thing. But my whole gist is, if the album is good, I have no hesitation of buying it. I get why, yes, you take away the journey, you take away going to the record shop, putting on a set of headphones, listen to a CD. Luckily, there's a shop in Chicago. Whenever I'm near there, I can go there and do that. And instead of, sitting in my home on my own headphones, listening to it. So yeah, I do miss those experiences, but I'll still buy the album. I just have a lot of them coming back home now to me.
I was going to add back with like the punk scene. When I was in high school and stuff, bands that didn't get, record deals and stuff like that, they used to just publish their own albums. That was like a huge thing back then. Their own record labels and stuff like that. And excuse me. And then the thing about the internet, well, I know, but back then that was like all they could do. It was before the YouTube whole thing. And the one thing about the internet is that I think older rockers kind of get like bitter about, or a little salty, is that back then there was almost like a status thing. If you knew more, obscure bands and rare bands, you didn't have the internet to find out about them. So now it's like the older I got, I was like, how do you know this band? Oh yeah, you can just pull it right up on the internet and know everything about them and get all the music. You don't have to search for the album or anything. So,
well, the other thing too is being able to find that. Like there are a bunch of indie bands that I love, and you can't get their vinyl. And if you do, it's like $200 or $300 now on eBay. And if you do a little investigating, you just end up going to I found a record store in Luxembourg that sold me the same record for the equivalent of $20 plus $20 for shipping. And it's like, you can find small little indie stuff out there, and you don't have to get, gouged by eBay people. So
I remember buying those records for $3 though. See, that's the difference.
Oh, I remember there was a band called the Lime Spiders. The Lime Spiders. They were this alternative. It was an alternative band in the 80s when I was still in high school, and you sent away your $3 plus $2 for shipping, and it was a translucent green 45 with hand-done inks. I know, hand-done ink sleeve with like skulls. And
I've got a few things like that. I loved colored vinyl. I was big in that craze in the late 70s, especially with New Wave. I bought every colored vinyl, translucent vinyl, vinyl that glowed, Gatefold Sleeves.
The ones that I bought, but I don't have them here, but I have them, is all the purple vinyl from Prince. I have them all.
Wow.
Cool.
Wow.
It's nice, mate. Nice. But somebody mentioned earlier that getting access to bands, and I find that because the live circuit is, well, pre-pandemic, and hopefully it'll come back, the live circuit was where it's at again for rock bands. They're not going to get big radio or TV coverage. The record labels have got it all locked down. You can easily have a great relationship with those guys if you're a fan. You know, it's much easier now than it used to be. You can email, text, Twitter, whatever. Bands are very accessible. A lot of them, not all of them. A lot of them are very accessible now in a way that they never were in the 70s because you didn't have the same access because of the tech. But I find that's a positive thing, you know. I mean, for them it may be a negative thing if they get some lunatics, but you know, you can. Most of them appreciate that fandom, you know. They love it. So, but speaking of gigs, I was interested in, for all you guys, what was the first gig you went to that you can recall?
I'll let Paulie go first, or Courtney, or Salty.
Yeah.
I'll go last.
I'll go.
Yeah, too old to remember.
The first one was
first gig?
obviously the Grateful Dead, because my dad took me, but I don't count that. The first one that I went to that was like my own choice, and I can't remember which one came first. It was either Madonna or Janet Jackson. I saw every Madonna tour up until the World Music Tour. I was like a huge Madonna person, and then I want to say it was Janet Jackson on her it was whatever tour
Rhythm
where they had
Nation?
the Black Cat song. Yeah, Rhythm Nation. That's what it was. The Rhythm Nation tour. So probably like what, 89 or 88 or something.
89, yeah.
Yeah, around then. And yeah, that was the first like that I chose to go to. I had gone to see a whole bunch of concerts like with my dad and stuff. I saw the Who and you know all different bands when I was little, but
The Who.
yeah, that was like my first one that I really wanted to go to.
But I would have said that that stuff was rock, and then Madonna and Janet Jackson are much more pop, dance, electronic, whatever, R&B.
Oh, you're defining it like that?
It's slightly different. Yeah, I would never have said Madonna was a rock artist.
It's modern time. It's musicians.
I guess my first rock.
I mean,
but it sounds like, Courtney, you moved more into alternative rock stuff beyond that.
That's like a different conversation. Like, what is rock?
Well, it is. What is rock? And that was on my list of questions.
Because then you're really like narrow niching it.
It's maybe just my aversion to Madonna. I don't know.
or hip hop.
I loved Madonna.
But
every girl in the 80s did, I feel like.
Well, is rock a broad tent, or isn't it? I mean, it was easy in the old days because you had pop music. Everything was popular music. Then this thing rock appeared, and then that split into genres. And you still had R&B, of course, or soul at the time. Everything's kind of fractured, and splintered into 1,000 genres. What does the tent cover? I mean, it covers whatever you like, because what you like is what you like. But I still have a hard job saying I thought Madonna was a rock artist. But I would say Jimi Hendrix was a rock artist.
Rock.
I get it. I agree.
Yeah.
No, I totally get it. I do.
Well, I think you could just say she's a musical performer.
Musical performer. I mean, you wouldn't call Take That or Boyzone or Boys to Men a rock act,
Whoa.
So,
no.
or maybe you would.
Would you call the Grateful Dead a rock act?
I would, yes. I would.
100%. 100%. Yeah.
But I've seen so many people live, and then it's like, well, Madonna's a great dancer, she's a great look, but she can't really sing compared to I've seen Christina Aguilera perform, and you're just like,
I love
she's got a great
that
range.
voice, just amazing.
Yeah.
She, I put up against Beyonce or anything, or Madonna, because they really can't sing live. J-Lo cannot sing live. These are not singers.
It's an interesting perspective. Yeah.
And we're veering off, right? But it's the big tent of modern music.
Yeah, and that's not to say that I mean, I've got a huge range of stuff. I mean, I've got classical, I've got ABBA, I've got dance stuff, I've got electronic stuff, I've got folk stuff, Celtic stuff. But to me, rock has always been that thing that's kind of guitar based and not necessarily solo singer that dances a lot. Doesn't mean it's not good, but
so for you, it's amplified and it's a modern time. Like there's
to a certain extent, yes.
I mean, yeah, because
doesn't mean other things are not good.
Other
stuff isn't good. It's more of a genre.
That's legit. That's legit.
So I'd just like to introduce my usual co-host and executive producer, the very wonderful Mr. Darius Munchausen.
That's popcorn.
Buttered popcorn.
Popcorn chicken? Come on.
Yeah, I see what you did there.
Hey, Darius. How are you?
Thank you. I'm all right. I just got in from work, and I've been listening to the show.
I'm glad somebody's keeping the economy going.
Yeah, no, it's been a great talk so far, and you got a great panel of guests here.
I'm honored, staggered and honored that these wonderful people would deem give me a bit of their time. It always amazes me. So,
what do you mean? Yeah. People jump at the chance to come on your show.
I don't know. I had to drag Paulie kicking and streaming, I think. I had to promise him things.
We got shit to do, dog.
I had to promise him things that I don't want to talk about.
So I'm not having a great time, man.
Good. I'm glad you could join me, mate. And
man,
you and I are going to do that Kiko show.
Shut up, Nick. Shut your ass up.
Paulie's going to set up a show about the album Kiko.
Oh yeah, I don't have that vinyl here with me. I grabbed some vinyl for you guys.
Ooh,
cool.
I don't think Paulie said his first show though before he shows off his big disc. He should.
He's big what?
His big disc.
Oh, disc. Okay.
Yeah.
Pórtate bien, mijo.
So he's got to tell us his first show. He didn't tell us.
First live show.
First live show.
God, it's gonna be with Mama Slant, no matter what, because we were just so glued to each other as far as she would take me to see anything that I wanted to go see. So I wanted to see the Blues Brothers because I was a big fan of the movie The Blues Brothers, and I heard that they were starting a live North American concert tour. So we got to see Belushi and Aykroyd perform live at the Universal Amphitheater, 1980. And he was amazing. He did the flips. I mean, it was 10. I was really into music.
Was it Booker T and the MGs backing them?
I don't remember. I was
man.
I was 10. Wow. I was so entertained. You know, what I remember was Belushi did flips. Wow. Front and back.
So you could do them.
And then my mom told me like maybe a week later that he had slipped his back and they canceled the tour.
Wow. You got one of the few performances they ever did then.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's cool. Did you buy, and this applies to everyone, did you buy programs at these gigs? Because you used to be able to buy programs for them, and that was another collectible. Sometimes I did in those days. I don't know if they still do that kind of thing.
Oh God, definitely vinyl or merch. The programs. That's a great question.
I still got a few from some of mine, but
some of the more cultural ones. I wouldn't say for me the rock one, you know, like the pop.
Oh, I have one from Motley Crue.
Oh, nice. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Yeah, they used to do. They always used to do.
Problem with buying that was you had to carry it around for the rest of the gig, you know, which was usually I wanted beers and jumping about, so it was a bit awkward. But so yes, that's an amazing first live gig that you can recollect. Salty, how about you, my friend? What's your earliest gig that you wish to recall?
Well, I'm just going to put this as a footnote. I saw Three Dog Night at the county fair in the early 80s, but I was working in a record store, actual vinyl store, before I went to college, and got a lot of free tickets to things, and I saw a band called Jesus and the Mary Chain.
Yes, I know them.
I know them. There was
they're Scottish.
Yeah.
What year was that? I'm curious.
That was, I think, 90 or 91. But where I'm going with that is there was a band nobody had ever heard before. And because I worked in a record store, you know how it is. And, I used to be cute at one point. But I managed to get backstage. And
I've met you. You're still pretty cute.
Oh, thank you. You're very kind. No, but where I'm going with that is that there was a band nobody had ever heard before that was opening called 9 Inch Nails. And so I got this. I had never heard anything like that in my life. And it's a small club. It was in Charlotte, North Carolina. It was called the 1313 Club. And it's not there now. They tore it down to build that stadium or wherever that is. But yeah, I saw them. I actually, and then the other show that I would say is notable, Fugazi, because actually,
$5 always $5.
Yeah, I got to go eat soul food with Ian McKay and interview him for one of those little black and white paper little fanzines that you talked about, man. So those are my two big ones.
How cool. Can I add something to that? Because you're talking about Nine Inch Nails.
Yeah.
I was a Sam Goody one day, and I was sitting out front with my friend, and I had pink hair. I was in 8th grade, and this band was setting up a little demo thing or whatever. And they gave me free cassette tapes and then I think some flyers or whatever. And we went to go see them play. And the band was called Caius. I don't know if anyone remembers a band called Caius.
Yeah.
Well, it turns out that those are the guys that are now Queens of the Stone Age. So I actually met Josh Homme and stuff.
Joshua Homme.
I was in 8th grade, and I didn't realize that for a little bit until after that band came out that those were the same guys, because they were all like long haired, like stoner rock kind of like looking dudes back then. But yeah, same type of thing. And I worked at a punk rock clothing store and got to go see like Sisters of Mercy and bands, would come and and you'd get tickets. They'd just be like, here, come see us tonight, and blah blah blah.
Yeah. Sisters of Mercy was amazing show.
I've often thought punk rock clothing stores were a bit of a rip-off, because basically you're just selling a bunch of ripped rags. Everything's torn. And
it was a lot of vinyl like clothing too, though. It was like, I don't know. It was just
there's a slight S&M edge to it too. Yeah.
Ain't nothing wrong with it.
Somebody mentioned the band Fugazi. Fugazi is also the second album by prog rock band Marillion, one of my favorite bands. So just throw that in there.
That was a great mosh pit that night. That's all I'm going to say.
$5 shows. I remember that was like a huge thing. When bands started charging more, they still always did $5.
Oh, the money is now just ridiculous, because my first gig was 10cc in 1977, and it was like £1.80 or something. Yeah, and I was 14, I think, 14 years old. It's not too bad. I can afford that. I was so excited to go to a live concert. This was like the biggest thrill I'd ever had in my life. It's fabulous. So, 10cc, that was a good one. Just an it was like in a theater. It wasn't exactly mosh pit or anything, but it was okay.
You could have made one. One.
It was a one-man mosh pit, but I was in the balcony, so it might have been a bit dangerous. So, Nick, my friend, what's your live gig experience?
Well, I've been around like 550 shows, but my first show was March 11th, 2005 at this venue called the Allstate Arena. It's in this suburb town called Rosemont, right outside Chicago, and I saw Slipknot there, and the openers were, before they blew up, Lamb of God and Shadows Fall. And once again, like after seeing that Disaster Pieces DVD from Slipknot, it was awesome to see that live show. And I knew right then and there, like, I wanted to go to shows all the time. I mean, obviously, and I did whatever it takes to go to shows. Like, I didn't care if I didn't have money. I would sell movies I didn't watch anymore. I sold music I didn't listen to anymore. I donated plasma. I donated scrap metal to make sure I go. I definitely called off work a few times for shows. I also tried to beg a few bit
by giving your blood.
Probably, but some things are worth fighting for. Yeah, and it's just
have you still got 2 kidneys?
Have you got 2 kidneys, or just I don't know my body's still functioning. That's all I know. So it's still alive and well somehow.
Cool.
So it's been good. I've been a few times. I've done 2 to 3 shows in one day as well.
Oh yeah.
Oh definitely. Yeah. That was my life for many years. Was going to gigs. It was my hobby. If I couldn't get to 4 gigs a week, I would be pissed off.
Nice.
I was lucky that I could get into shows for free all the time, just because I had in the punk scene, if you knew people, but I booked bands also, so I had a little bit of, I guess, status.
I gotta bounce. You guys take care. Have fun. Continue the fun talk.
Paulie, my friend, thank you for joining us. If there's anything you want to plug, just on your wonderful channel, let me. Here's your chance.
I gotta go. The dishes are everything's flying
Piling up. Oh man!
Well, subscribe to the Latino Slant and become a member.
I can't even do it.
Do your damn dishes.
Thanks for joining.
I can't. Well, no, yeah. Anyways, you guys have fun.
Appreciate it, mate.
See you, Paulie.
See you, friend.
Goodbye.
See you, Paulie.
Yeah, the gig going experience, although I'm slightly more jaded about it these days because I've seen, I'm like you, Nick, I've lost count. I mean, I've been to thousands, literally thousands of gigs.
Hundreds, several hundreds.
It's kind of hard to still get that thrill. Happens occasionally, but in those early days, say from 77 to like 87, the first 10 years of my gig going, I just had the most freaking awesome time. So many great bands, and it was like a thrill. Every time was a thrill, you know.
That 70s, what was your favorite small club band experience? Like, you know, that intimate club. What was the best show?
Well, there's been quite a few, but I'd say the one I got the biggest thrill out of was seeing UFO, British metal band, at the Marquee Club in London.
Wow.
I was walking down Wardour Street in Soho and walked past the marquee and it said, "Tonight, one night only, UFO." It was a warm-up gig for a tour.
Wow.
Unadvertised, just at the door. And I was big into UFO at the time. This was like 1980, 81. I said, "That's it, I'm going." Went in, and that was just awesome to see a band, and they were a pretty big band at the time, in front of maybe 30 people. 40 people. Just freaking
those are the best shows. Those can we run with that as a theme? Because what
are the best gigs?
I saw Courtney go, whoa, call on me, and it's like I want to hear hers. So
yeah. So
I have go on. Finish what you're saying.
No, I was going to say this is what one of the things I wanted to talk about was our favorite and our least favorite gig experiences.
Oh, sorry, man. Sorry.
So this is good.
I was just going to bring up, when you were saying like seeing that band in a smaller venue and whatnot. I was just walking down South Street in Philadelphia one day, and there's a club called the TLA, and they're not like as tiny as like a bar, but they're not a big club at all. And I was just hanging out with my friend, and I think I had like green hair or something. And I stood out, and some guy said, "I have extra tickets to this show right now. If you guys want to go, I'll just give them to you." And we were like, "Okay, sure." And it was Radiohead. And it was like early Radiohead. Like it was right when they sang this from Creep. So Creep took off after that song. It was that tour, which was super, super cool. But speaking of like little clubs that were like, I've gone to shows at CBGB's, that was always an experience. And in Boston, the Rat Cellar. The Rat was a huge.
I've been there. I've been there.
Yeah, I used to live above the Rat. Actually, I had the best part.
Wow.
It was so awesome. Yeah, people would like come up and hang out, and it was really cool. So I've seen a ton of shows like at those places. But what were we saying? Best and worst shows?
Yeah, I mean, we all know our favorite gig experiences, but what have the worst been? And it might not be because the band were bad, but it might have been just something else.
The worst for me, and I love this band so much, I was so disappointed, was seeing The Cure. And I only saw them one time, and it was horrible.
Wow.
It was like it was when that new album came out in I don't know, I was in my 20s.
Fascination Street. Yeah.
No, it was after that even.
Okay.
Okay. I can't even think of. I was in my 20s, so we're thinking like early 2000s. Whatever album that was, it wasn't a good album though, really. But they did not play any of their old stuff. So people would go there to see The Cure. You want to see at least like Just Like Heaven,
Love Cats.
Boys Don't Cry. You think they're like, Love Cats. I used to love playing that on bass. It's a great bass line. They played like nothing, and so it was a real big disappointment because I was all about going to see The Cure. Hi, Ashley. And I just have to say, best show that I ever saw because it's so cool that I got to see it. I got to see Iggy with the Stooges. Iggy and the Stooges.
Oh, nice.
And Sonic Youth opened up for them at Jones Beach in Long Island. Yeah, that was an awesome show.
Amazing. Great stuff. I had a similar experience as The Cure when you had with Smashing Pumpkins on the Adore tour. It looked like they couldn't give a shit.
Mm-hmm.
It was just 2 hours of boredom. And they were like, it was so disappointing. Awful gig. But I mean, that's not the worst experience I've had at a gig. I think the worst experience might be getting carted out because I'd eaten too many edibles at a blues festival. I underestimated my capacity that day, and they had to carry me out, and I had to go back to the hotel, and it took me 24 hours to recover. So,
wow.
I've been carried out of shows.
Started out well, but then eventually I realized I couldn't speak.
Has anyone else been kicked out of a show for being too wasted? Because I have.
Yes.
The thing is, it wasn't usually me. I had a buddy called John who was usually the one that was like absolutely hammered. I was hammered too, but he got really hammered. And he would regularly fall over in the middle of the club floor, knocking down thousands of people. And then I'd have to drag him up, and he's like 6'4" or whatever. I'm just a little guy. So, gig after gig, we'd have fun with that. Just he's over, everyone's knocked down. Security. Alcohol, the perils of alcohol.
I think the last show I got kicked out of was Gwar. I got kicked out of Gwar.
Gwar.
Wow.
How do you kick out?
Wait a minute.
That was fun. That was so much fun.
Funny you should mention
juiced
them.
on me when I was center front at their show in 2000.
Yeah, you get messy at those shows.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I got covered in something and jumped up on the stage because I thought this was I could join, and that was a mistake. So that's the
Gwar
first
gave
and
you a
last
big
time
facial.
I did that. So yeah.
Yeah. I know what you're talking about. The big cannon looking thing.
Oh yeah, and then all the slurries that they kill on stage too, and then
Do you mean this band?
Yeah.
Yes.
Love.
R.I.P.
to Odorous.
I have some slides for with some sartorial elegance from bands. And this was one of my choices. Was Gwar. You got to be very proud of your thighs to wear this stuff, I think. So you've seen them live, and you got kicked out.
Oh yeah. And I just wanted to share that. Like I heard Gwar, and I'm like, oh yeah, I can name that tune. Yeah. I got, and the cops were waiting in the parking lot because again, this was back when I lived in North Carolina, and they were just bored. So they handcuffed me and bounced me off the hood of the car a few times and asked me how this was going to go. And I said, I think it's going to go with me going home. And they're like, good choice. And I went home. So yeah.
Hey, while I'm here, I might as well do the rest of these. This is what Kiss would look like without the corsets.
They look like Danzig wannabes.
They do. Yeah, they do. They all got that devil lock that Danzig.
I was going to leave. I was going to leave these for later, but we'll do them now. This is a band called Lordy. Well played.
Yeah.
You know them. They won the Eurovision Song Contest. They're Finnish. And normally people that win the Eurovision Song Contest are like ABBA or Cliff Richard. These guys won the Eurovision Song Contest.
Was that for Hard Rock Hallelujah?
That's right, yeah. Hard Rock Hallelujah, yeah. And I've always liked the outfits, though. They just look great. This is classic 80s metal.
The Kings of Metal. Speaking of Manowar, dude.
Yeah.
Kings of Metal, again, man.
You have to have a lot of confidence to wear that in public, I think.
Amazing. The one guy looks like he has breast implants.
He does. Yeah. I think he's oiled himself as well. He's a bit oily looking.
There's a lot of Crisco there. A lot of Crisco.
Yeah. Then, I was so stunned when Rob Halford came out as gay because who knew? I mean, who knew?
Shocker. Real shocker.
Shocker-rooney.
Well, he did have a song on called Ram It Down. And I was like, okay. And, Hellbent for Leather. Like, the writing was always on the wall. It was one of those things where it's like, if you didn't piece it together, like, bro. And I think there's another one, Eat You Alive or something.
Eat Me Alive.
Eat Me Alive. Yeah. So
Tipper Gore didn't like that one.
No, Tipper Gore hated it. Oh my god.
Completely stunned me when he announced he was gay.
His outfit's amazing.
How could I have guessed? And the mighty Slade, of course.
Oh wow!
Nice.
With Dave Hill in his. I actually don't know what that is that he's wearing. It's.
I want that. I want that jacket. I would wear that jacket when I did live streams because that is amazing.
You mean this one, the Noddy one?
The one on the left.
Hill?
Oh, the one on the left
Hill.
with the planets. Yeah.
That's got. I'm not
that,
quite sure what you would call that.
Red leather jacket.
That's the acid flashback druid.
That's
coat
right.
there. That's what.
This is from a man who says he never takes drugs. Dave Hill. Slade, what a band! I had a few more. I'll go right back to the start. There's ABBA, of course. There's ABBA.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And then
See, Eurovision Song Contest brings out the best in bands sartorially.
Yeah, and it brings out the bulge.
There's all four of them have got a camel toe.
So should we call this? Hey, is this going to be called the Brave and the Bulge?
That's right. Then Alice, I just like this picture, not because he's particularly outrageous, but
Dude,
I love Alice.
Alice
is
I
best.
only saw once in 2012 on Iron Maiden Somewhere Back in Time tour, and Alice Cooper was the opener. And a lot of my buddies got to see Cooper for their first time when Motley Crue did their Not Farewell tour, and every single person said that Alice Cooper destroyed Motley Crue, and I have to blame Vince Neil for his Big Max 103 for that, because seriously, Vince Neil, like in the last 15 years, like it's like he stops halfway up the stage, has a Big Mac, goes on stage, breathes for 15 minutes, sings for 5 minutes, and then oh my god, I got a great Vince Neil story to tell.
Tell away. That's why we're here.
So after they had split up before they decided to announce a reunion, Vince Neil did a solo tour, and one of them was at a suburb town in my state called St. Charles. And St. Charles, it's a very uppity, like super rich town, and there's this really classy venue called the Arcada Theater. And it's one of those venues where seeing a show there is like everything's super high end and fancy. And you would think, okay, well, Vince Neil's in Motley Crue, he shouldn't have a problem being a draw. But the problem is the show sold like shit so bad that they're giving away tickets at the last minute. And so the venue probably does around 12 or 1300, and around less than 100 people went. And a buddy of mine decided to go up because he actually was a fan of his solo work. And I'm like, oh, you should actually go. If you actually like his solo stuff, he might actually play some of it. And he found Vince Neil in back of the venue, and he asked Vince to sign one of his solo albums. He thought, that would be really cool, because I'm sure he only sees Motley Crue albums and not one of his solo efforts. So he signed the record, or did he, is the question, because he sent me a photo of what it looked like. It looked like a straight line. And I'm like, oh man, you're in for a shit show of a night. If he just gave you a straight line and called it a signature. Vince Neil was supposed to schedule at a certain time, was 15 minutes late on stage, and also ended 20 minutes shorter than he was supposed to. So he ended up playing for like 45 minutes, but only for 20 of those minutes was he actually singing. And after the show, Vince Neil's Instagram, they had a photo shown of the stage that they were playing on, and it was cropped, so it made it look like they were playing to a packed house when they really weren't. They were playing like next to nobody. And he was saying, thank you, this is an amazing show. And my buddy Joe, who was there, was like, dude, this guy's a pathological liar. No one was there. And he cropped in an angle to make it look like, oh, okay, we'll show off the front row. So you could see the stage in the front row, and you could see a line of people at the front row. So it made it look like he was playing a lot of people. In reality, he was playing to a venue that was, well, nearly a ghost town with tumbleweed passing by. And he was late and didn't finish the set and sounded like shit for the few minutes that he sang. You want to talk about the worst of all worlds?
Yeah, that's bad. But, the other members of the crew, like I saw Tommy Lee when it was it wasn't even Methods of Mayhem, it was just Tommy Lee solo. It was horrible. And I love Tommy Lee and Nikki Sixx, just to throw that out there. But and then I saw Nikki Sixx with his band 6 a.m.
Mhm.
when they were first coming around. And speaking of the signature autograph thing, my one friend had Nikki Sixx autograph right here, and then he got it tattooed on him, which I thought was something different. But Nikki Sixx is cool. He like hung out with his fans, and I also I worked at the Chicago Tattoo Convention a couple of years in a row, and I got to meet him there. I saw him twice, and he actually remembered me. I thought that was super cool.
Oh, nice.
Beautiful, yeah. Indeed. So I got a couple more of these. Hang on. How did I get it back?
What is it?
Oh Lord.
I don't know who this is, but my God, that's a good look. It's kind of like neo-Renaissance fantasy.
There's a band called Upper Crust in
S&M.
Boston, but they're a little too metal for that.
I thought the guy in the white Speedo was Mad Mardigan.
I was going to say that silver Mylar nut bag really draws it all together. That's
It
all
does,
I'm gonna
doesn't
say.
it? Yeah. It brings all the girls to the yard.
The guy on the right
reminds
looks
me
like
of,
Jeremy Clarkson if he was in the B-52s.
Jeremy Clarkson.
Oh yeah.
It's Jeremy Clarkson if he was in the French aristocracy in the 18th century.
The guy up front though, he's wearing a crotch piece, kind of like I don't know if anyone has ever heard of the band Anti-Nowhere League.
Oh yes, I know them.
Remember Animal, the singer? He used to wear a crotch piece like that.
Indeed.
I wish we had pictures of him. He's funny.
Secure in his masculinity.
Yes,
Maybe this is the backup band for the Twi'lek on the Galactic Cruiser
could be
Disneyland.
Yeah, and their solo pianist would be Elton, of course, the man of a million costumes. Here he is wearing his duvet jacket, made out of a real duvet.
Someone just gave me his biography and said it's supposed to be pretty good.
Yeah.
Looks like his Rocket Man spacesuit.
And we had Guar already, of course. And those guys. So that's all I had. I didn't have time for more. I didn't have time to find more. So it's so Darius, you joined us a little later. Could you relate to us your history with music, how you got into music? What's your earliest memories of being excited listening to music?
Well, my parents are really not that into music. My mom graduated in '69, but she couldn't care less about all the stuff, that we love, which I discovered later. But I didn't even know new music was being made until I got into middle school. And I changed the station, and there was I think it was the local, the Canadian punk rock station. I was like, whoa, new music, because my parents only listened to oldies. And so I actually got into hip hop first when they put me on the ADHD medication, just because the density of the lyrics, was I appreciated the lyricism. But once I heard Metallica in high school, I think it was 15, then that was it. I just became a metalhead. And my first show that I went to was a couple months after Nick's. It was at Harpo's in Detroit in 2005, and it was Mushroom Head and Dope. And it was cool because
a theme.
Yeah, and it was cool because that was my first mosh pit, my first stage dive, my first metal show. And although I didn't really know the music that well, but my friends did. And so after that,
heard of either of these bands.
Let's put it this way: Mushroom Head was Slipknot before Slipknot exploded.
That's right.
Yeah, they were a mask band.
They were from Ohio, and they are actually around a little bit longer than Slipknot. There was a bit of a rivalry between the fans, not the bands, but the fans over, did Slipknot steal their whole spiel the way that from Mushroom Head? Because there was that accusation towards Pantera in the 90s that they steal their sound from X-Hoarder.
Oh gosh,
yeah,
I was way too much of a punk rocker at that point to get into that new metal kind of. What would you call that? I don't know. It's kind of
Well, Korn got that whole subgenre going,
Yeah,
and then you
I
had
like Korn.
800, imitators like the Cold Chambers of the world, and like I like some of the early Korn stuff when it was like really heavy, but then once they started like getting, well, I guess you could say more poppier, I just kind of just jumped off that wagon and didn't really care. But I like what Slipknot was because they were a lot heavier and they were more in line with traditional metal, and that was to my appeal. But carry on, Darius.
Well, Darius, I was going to ask you, Darius, and this might apply to Nick too. You guys got into metal in that, what I would call that second wave, the Metallica era and beyond. Once you were into that, did you go back and listen to some of the older stuff, like the original British bands, metal bands, or did it?
Oh yeah. It was a constant process working backward because most of what they played on the local, rock and metal station, the Rift, was like current stuff. At that time, was a lot of new metal. They would play Metallica every night at 10. It was mandatory Metallica, and
it's the Metallica hour.
Yeah. So it was. I was always going like further back and further back, listening to music. And
Metallica covers a song of a band I played in, but I'll tell that story later. Continue.
Oh, cool.
Well, they did a whole album of covers, and I didn't even know that "Am I Evil" was a Diamond Head song for years.
Diamond Head! I've seen Diamond Head multiple times, and I've seen them in bars and clubs because I lived near the town that they were from for about 3 years, and I always saw them in bars. So, great band, brilliant band. Chatted to them many times.
Look who we got here. Yeah, Diamond. Look at who we got here. This is the pinnacle. The pinnacle of
demonic
Christian heavy metal from the mid to late 80s.
The fine demonic sound of Stryper.
No, I don't mind Stryper.
Tipper Gore's favorite band.
I don't mind Stryper. I don't really feel like they're a bad band. No, as far as like the British wave and stuff like that, like I got into Priest right away because by the time I discovered Priest, it was right actually when Halford rejoined the band. So I'm like, okay, there's a lot of hype around this reunion. I should see what's up. And they had put out the album at the time, the first album with Halford back in the band, titled Angel of Retribution. Okay, it's pretty damn good. I like what Halford can do on the vocals. And then I learned that was the same lineup that was from the Painkiller album. So I'm like, okay, I listened to that, Screaming for Vengeance, British Steel, Defenders of the Faith. I was like all in on. I'm like, damn, this is awesome. Now, of course, I had a lot of classmates who were in Iron Maiden. I saw a lot of the shirts. And then a lot of the other stuff like Accept and Saxon. And
I love Saxon.
Actually, before I got to it, I was in the Motorhead right after Priest and Maiden because I heard Tony Hawk, Pro Skater. There was Ace of Spades, of course. I know it's typical.
I saw them on that tour, Ace of Spades tour.
Oh, nice. So I'm like, I want to know what other songs there were because it seemed like a lot of people liked that song, but it seemed like no one was talking about the other songs. So I looked up the album that was coming out that time titled Inferno, and they had the song called In the Ear of the Wolf. I'm like, bro, this shit is badass. And then Mickey D was on the drums from the Scorpions. So I was like, Mickey D stayed with them for the mid-90s up until when Lemmy passed on. So I was blown away by what Mickey D could do. And Inferno, I was hooked on. And I looked into a lot of the other Motorhead albums, and I was hooked on Motorhead, probably even more than Priest and Maiden, just because they're the band that, like, Lemmy was just the ultimate, like, iconic imagery, not just of great music, but he was the ultimate fuck you, fuck everyone till the very end. And he was that way until he did. He never watered himself down.
Lemmy was very true to himself. Lemmy was Lemmy.
I love that. Yeah. I love that. And then like stuff like Saxon Accept, right? Probably my early 20s was right around then. I'm like, oh hey, because there's this whole like second wind going on for Accept. They had got a new vocalist and they were putting out albums, and people were actually like very warmly receptive of them. And I just knew, of course, the typical balls to the wall. But then I'm like, okay, there's this new vocalist from Accept. And listen, they put out the album Blood of the Nations with Mark Tornillo on the front. He's the current vocalist who's now been with them since. I'm like, dude, this shit's badass. And then, of course, I listened to Warlock too. I mean, Warlock has the infamous Doro Pesh. I'm sure you've heard of Doro Pesh. If you haven't, you really should. Her band, Warlock, is from Germany. And Doro has a solo band that she's been going with since, well, after Warlock split in the 80s, she's been going solo since. And Doro, she's another legend in herself. She's probably one of the first big deal female vocalists in metal. Like Lita Ford's the mainstream. The real metalheads love Doro Pesh. I'll put it that like
Wendy
that.
Williams too.
Which one? Wendy Williams? Yeah.
Wendy Williams, Cosmetics.
Mm-hmm.
She was like
Soul Assassin's asking a good question. Who would we put on the Mount Rushmore of metal bands? Now, there's only 4 heads on Mount Rushmore, so it means we can only pick 4 people. But I would definitely pick Motorhead.
Mm-hmm.
I would also pick the Scorpions if it was me.
Mm-hmm.
I love Scorpions.
After that, I'd have to think about it because there's a lot of contenders.
Mm-hmm.
That's
tough. That's way too conflicting. Maybe you had said, Nick, what would be the Mount Rushmore of like the Bay Area of thrash metal? Because I had to emphasize the words the Bay Area because you had the New York scene, you had the New Jersey scene, you had the Arizona, even at the Canadian wave. Canada had Annihilator, they had Razor, Exciter, and then you had Germany. They had the Teutonic Four of Creator, Sodom, Destruction, and Tankard. And down in Brazil, you had Sepultura before they became more like a Korn new metal type of band. They used to be a full on fast as fuck thrash metal band, super insanely heavy, and that's my Sepultura era. But as far as the Bay Area, I can answer the question as far as the Bay Area of thrash. I mean, obviously Slayer, as far as Bay Area thrash, Slayer, Exodus, that would be right off the 2. Maybe Death Angel. I mean, God, the Ultraviolence is such a good album. And then, sorry, this is more complicated than I realized.
With no disrespect to the later metal bands, I would go for the classic ones because that's what you need on a Mount Rushmore. You need the classics.
Of course. Yeah,
so probably figures. I'd go for Black Sabbath and Deep Purple, but it's everyone's choice. Everyone would have their own choices.
I agree with you, actually. I mean, you want to go for people who planted a lot of the seeds and the roots.
I would say Kiss.
See, I see Kiss more as a glam band than a metal band.
I see a hard rock when I see Kiss, but obviously that's where I am.
So the Scorpions were mentioned a few times, and for me, I've been to so many gigs, it's very hard to pick the best ones. And some were like Queen, which were just a special thing to see. But I think the gig that I always go back to as having the most absolute fun at, and there's 2. One was the Scorpions supported by Blackfoot at the Wolverhampton Civic Hall in 1980. This is a place that holds maybe 300-400 people. And the Scorpions played this gig there, and it was just monumental.
Nice.
It's one of those gigs where if the crowd moved, you moved. If the crowd jumped, you jumped, because everyone was like this. It was mental mayhem, and they were doing the Animal Magnetism tour.
Oh, nice.
It was just fucking killer, and that gig has a special place in my heart. I remember coming out of that thinking, I want 4 more hours of that. It was just so good. And Blackfoot were the support band. They were brilliant. And I think the second one would be when I saw the Wild Hearts in a club in Edinburgh in about 1994. And I did my one and only stage diving experience. And that was fun. And the roadie at the front who caught me says, don't you think you're a bit old for this? I was only in my 30s. So, but the Wild Hearts, just an fucking killer band live, and that was a special gig, very special one. So
I'm just showing this again for Wookie's comment. He's talking about hanging with Lemmy.
And a couple more pictures I forgot I had. I've no idea who these guys are, but this is one way. The gold lammy is a nice touch, I think.
Wow.
I could picture Courtney wearing this gear when she was playing in bands.
You can see, my avatar is me playing in a band, and I'm wearing I think, like a leopard print halter or something like that.
It's a great picture. And I think I might
That's the band that Metallica covered.
I don't know who this band is.
I was going to say The Darkness, but it's not.
It's not The Darkness. But
The Darkness came in the 2000s.
Yeah.
They're just the singer with like.
I think that's everything. I don't know who they are, but they're quite funny.
Okay.
So hang on, let me remove that. Yeah, so come on, who's got a really bad gig experience? Nick and I have had ones. Who else has got bad gig experiences? Like,
you mean the band was bad, or we were bad?
He just had a bad experience. Yeah.
I had a lame experience. Sort of. I went to see Iron Maiden up at Pine Knob in 2014.
Oh, I like Pine Knob.
And I went with my my metalhead stoner friends, and they gave me they gave me like a hit of some stuff, and I got so like out of my mind stoned that for years I thought I imagined that show. That I wasn't sure that I'd ever actually been there.
I've been like that a few times. Was I actually there?
Yeah, I had to look it up. I'm like, did that really happen?
Mrs. Rock fan to this day swears blind she was at Led Zeppelin in Montreal in 1970, but she can't remember it. She swears blind she was there.
That's
and
funny.
You know what 1970 would have been like for substances, but she swears blind to this day she was at it. She just can't remember one thing about it. So we have a new guest joining us, and I'm very pleased to say, all the way from Japan, it's our friend Wazikashi.
Oh,
did I say that right?
Thank you,
dude.
Thank you for
Japan,
joining us.
Japan, you're home of Anthem.
Oh yeah, mate! I can't believe it. Thanks for sending me the link. I can't believe I'm on your show. I really appreciate it.
No, I can't believe you joined us all the way from Japan, mate. It's an absolute pleasure. We were talking in the chat before the show started. I think you know Salty.
Yes,
So pleased you've joined us and you could come on because I think you're a bit of a music head yourself.
Yeah, mate. Yeah, what a great panel. 70s rock fan. I've got to say, what a great panel. What a great discussion. I've been having a fantastic time listening in on this, so I appreciate it.
Oh, thanks for saying so. And I think it was the intention was we have a lot of shows where we talk about other aspects of the fandom, but to me, music is part of it, and we should celebrate that music more and talk about it more. You know, there's a lot of comic stuff, a lot of movie stuff. I want to talk about music, not all the time, but it deserves its own shows. So here we are. Yeah, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for the invite and go for it.
What's the scene like in Japan right now? I know with the pandemic it might be a little suppressed, but music-wise, what's going on there right now?
Right now, it's all Korean pop, K-pop. You know, bands like BTS, Blackpink, they're huge. But with the pandemic, there's no real live shows. It's really, really quiet on the live front. But I got to tell you, I saw some great bands in Osaka in Japan. They used to have like Primal Scream, Arctic Monkeys, those kind of bands. I'm talking 10 years ago now, though.
Yes, I introduced you earlier in the chat to Cheap Trick at the Budokan, which...
Oh, yeah. How good is that, mate? Thank you for that. I haven't heard that before.
One of my 10 favourite albums of all time, and that's
a great album.
Yeah, Japan made that band. All those Japanese girls, sweet Robin, screaming for Robin Zander.
Yeah, I was looking. Wikipedia was saying that they were kind of treated like the Beatles. It was like Beatlemania when they came over in '79.
Yeah, and there was a bit of controversy because the Budokan till that point had never hosted a rock gig, and they were all
know that.
It was all traditional Japanese martial arts and sumo. There was actually protests that they were going to have this rock band play there, and there was death threats and all sorts of stuff. It was a bit of a, but at the end, the gig was hugely successful. I've actually got the DVD of it. There was they've never released it commercially, hard to get, but I've got a copy of it in DVD in the gig, and it's really good.
Oh wow!
And the whole show is the album that was released was a single album, but you can get the double album version with the whole show, and it's just killer. They were a fierce rock band at the time. But yeah, what was your earliest memories of getting into music then, mate? I mean, what inspired you?
It was like the 1980 when my brother was into the British metal scene. So bands like Black Sabbath and Deep Purple, Saxon, Motorhead, Girl School, but it was all secondhand listening. It wasn't me buying them or, by choice, but I thought this is so cool. And I love the art on the albums.
The
art
Gatefold
album sleeves, mate.
Yeah, it's like a painting. Dude. You got your home of loudness as well, not just Anthem, but also loudness hails from Japan too. Like, you're so lucky because, like, don't get me wrong, I love the Sabbaths and the Maidens of the world, but Japan has some really rocking stuff themselves as well.
Oh, they've got some rock bands, yeah.
And good
My
ones,
buddy
like,
in the chat is
ones.
talking about hardcore bands. He's saying a lot of good hardcore in Japan.
Oh, okay, wow, yeah, it's a little bit over my head. There's so much over here. It's surprising. The metal scene is still huge here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and Low Spec mentioned Nemophilia is his favorite band right now from Japan.
Wow.
I remember there were a couple like street punk bands. This is like in the late 90s. Tom and the Boot Boys and Discogs or something.
I've got some stuff by Shonen Knife, Japanese band. They're more poppy. They're not metal. They're pop band. But I like those guys. They do some really poppy stuff, great tunes,
Yeah.
But you mentioned Gatefold Sleeves. I had the Joe Walsh album here. Look at that. You can't beat a Gatefold sleeve.
Oh, that's awesome.
Look at that. I mean, lots of space to roll things in it, and you read the lyrics. You can read the lyrics. Look at this. It even comes with a tablecloth on the record.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Anyway,
I used to love pulling everything out of the, like, when vinyl would just have everything. The inserts, the lyrics.
Triple albums are the best. I got a couple of triple albums, and they're like Wings Over America and stuff like that. It's the triple LP. It folds right out. Brilliant.
Do you remember the Black Sabbath? The Black Sabbath albums with like the really scary painted art on. I'm not sure who the artist was, but I used to love those when I was a kid.
Oh, yeah. Dude, all those covers, whether it was the Ozzy covers or the Dio covers, like even like some of the stuff like when they had Born Again, when they Ian Gillan, that was the one album Ian Gillan did with Sabbath when he did it's called Born Again. So even and then Tony Martin, of course, because I don't look at Sabbath as just Ozzy. I mean, at the end of the day, Tony Iommi is Black Sabbath because he's the only guy who's been on every single album, and obviously you had the originals of him, War, Geezer, and Ozzy, but Dio did 3 great albums with them.
I'm a heretic because I believe the best Sabbath album is Heaven and Hell.
Oh, dude.
And I was
gonna say the Mob Rules, but I won't argue with Heaven and Hell.
Children of the Sea and stuff like that. I mean, I just love the Dio Sabbath more than the Ozzy Sabbath. Yeah.
Dude,
I love Dio.
Rainbows.
I love Dio with Rainbow.
Yeah,
I missed seeing Rainbow with Dio. I saw them on the Down to Earth tour at Stafford Bingley Hall, and it was still fun though. And they still had the hit singles and stuff, and it was great, But yeah, I love Rainbow. Another one of my favorite gigs of all time. Them what days? So, what took you to Japan, my friend? Are you working there? Or?
Yeah, I'm not sure who was saying in the chat. They worked over here as an English teacher, assistant English teacher. So same thing, but actually, it was my wife that brought me over. I got married to a Japanese lady, so there we go. That helps.
She's a Japanese girl.
I remember that as well, man.
She's a Japanese girl. I don't remember who did it, but
that was I can't remember
a
the
British
name of the artist.
thing.
Yeah.
But,
what about Turning Japanese by the Vapors?
No, the Vapors.
Japanese. I think I'm turning Japanese.
I've got that single in my box. But yeah, we know what that was about, though.
He saw himself, spanking the monkey in the mirror. He's like, oh my God, I look Japanese.
I always thought Peter Gabriel's song was Spank the Monkey, not Shock the Monkey. It came as a bit of a surprise when it was Shock the Monkey. So you're enjoying your time over there, though?
Yeah, thank you. It's as I'm sure you can all guess, it's a fantastic country. I'm only in a small, tiny little seaside town. I'm not in a big city, so
you're not in the
perfect.
Yeah,
perfect.
I missed the kind of live scene, but as I said, it's kind of closed down at the moment with everything.
Yeah.
So
Are you on the north or the south island, or?
I'm on the main island. I'm on the west
Main
coast.
island.
Yeah,
okay.
near where we get a lot of snow, near the snow country. So it's snowing today again.
And do you find the, I guess in a small town it's easier. The big cities, the pop culture stuff clashes a lot with the history, and it's kind of, you look at those neon streets with all the weird stores and arcades, it must be a bit disorienting. It's probably not like that where you are.
No, it's not like that where I am. It's not cyberpunk. It's not Blade Runner.
As it said to you in the chat, I've been watching a cute little show on Netflix called Midnight Diner.
Right,
it's a Japanese show, and it's really just like a guy who's got a little diner in the Shinjuku part of Tokyo, and he opens all night, and he's got regulars, and it's just little stories about them every week. It's like Friends, kind of like Friends in a way, or maybe Cheers, in fact, would be a better analogy. It's not a comedy per se, though, but it's cute.
Sounds good.
And it's kind of very Japanese oriented stories, you know, the morals or the things that happen to the people. It's a cute little show. Yeah.
Can I just say there's two Japanese bands, I don't know if any of you know on the panel. These are what my wife used to listen to. There's Blanky Jet City and the Yellow Monkey.
I know Yellow Monkey.
Yeah.
I know Yellow Monkey. Yeah.
Yoshikazuya, yeah.
Actually, I remember the Yellow Magic Orchestra, electronic band. They were Japanese.
I remember them.
Yeah. But Yellow Monkey I've heard of, yeah.
There's Yellow Monkey. There's also another one, Earthshaker, of course. I'm trying to think here. Why is my brain blinking out? X Japan.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, look up X Japan if you somehow haven't. So please do it, man. Like that country is just, it's covered in gold as far as the metal and the hard rock goes. Like, wow. And keep an eye on my Twitter. I'll post a bunch of stuff, just so you can get wind of it. Like, all right, I gotta listen to this.
So speaking of that, one of the other things I did want to ask everybody, because we've all got our little secret bands that we love. I do the series, the Underlooked bands. You know, people I think deserve more attention.
Comment.
Yeah, if you were to pick one or two artists that you guys feel deserve more coverage, more success, more fame, who would they be, and what is it about them you think makes them deserve that? So who wants to go first?
Can I go first? Because my dog is going to divorce me if I don't take him.
I didn't know you were married. That's a bit illegal, isn't it?
I don't want my dog to divorce me.
You're a furry.
But yes, no.
You go ahead, sir.
I'm not judging your lifestyle, but don't, no. So there's two bands, and one of them is called First Aid Kit. It's out of Scandinavia. It's a sister band, and they are incredible. A lot of what they do is like a combination of early 70s country meets modern folk rock, but just absolutely beautiful. The other one is a band called Camp, which is CAAMP. And let me see, I can share that.
I'm assuming that's First Aid Kit there.
Yeah, First Aid Kit, absolutely fantastic. Well, I have all of their stuff on vinyl.
I'm sold.
Yeah, no, all of their stuff on vinyl. I have all of it. It's absolutely beautiful. I mean, they have a couple of songs where they actually take like, it sounds just like you're listening to a country band by Loretta Lynn. Yeah. Only they're singing, and it's amazing with a modern folk spin. And in the case of Camp, it's another modern folk band, but it's a little more grungy and like it's, I don't know how to describe it, but it's CAAMP. Absolutely fantastic.
It's good to look those guys up too.
Yeah, I've got the link if you want it, but yeah, it's just a fan. Both of these are in heavy rotation in my house.
CAAMP.
Yep, Camp. They're actually from Ohio. They have 3 albums out. They're fantastic. Cannot recommend them enough. But that 70s. I thank you so much for having me on the show. My dog is scratching my door. This has been a blast. I love doing this. Hail to everybody. Hail to 32. It's great to stream with you.
Courtney, hey, the feelings are mutual.
Dude, I mean, this is so much fun. And of course, Gray, the gentleman from Japan, will be on my show tomorrow night at 6:15, along with Maxfield Von Priestley. And in addition, we're also going to be We're also raising awareness that the Late Late Horror Show was demonetized by YouTube, and that's a channel with nearly 80,000 subscribers. So I'm going to have them on to try and help them out. They've set up a Patreon. Reach out to them. Good people over there at that channel. But this has been a blast. Thank you so much.
Thanks for coming, mate. I'm going to play you out.
Sure.
These go to 11.
Let's rock.
Let's rock.
Let's rock, Duffy.
Right, let's rock and roll.
There you go. But thank you very much, Salty, for joining us. Really appreciate it. Have a great day, rest of your day.
On Wookie's comment there, the Dead Milkman.
Oh, the Dead Milkman, yeah.
Yeah, the Dead Milkman are a Philly punk band, and they mention a huge like punk rock clothing store that it's not existent in existence anymore, but it was called Zipperhead that my friends owned. It's in the lyrics. One Saturday I took a walk to Zipperhead. Does anyone know this song Punk Rock Girl? It was a pretty like popular.
Vaguely familiar.
But anyway, we're Philly. Philly represent. Yes, Wookie.
Mm-hmm. So you had a couple of suggestions, Courtney, of things that we should be listening to. Fire.
Oh, underrated bands that I was saying, or
underrated.
One of them was just one that was from way back in the day was the Zombies. I always
look! I just happened to have a picture of them.
Oh, that couldn't have been planned at all, huh?
What a good-looking bunch of guys, eh?
I'm just love the Zombies. I actually got to see them about 4 years ago. They're still playing.
Oops,
wrong one. I just used to love the like the Hammond, the keys.
Oh yeah,
yeah. So Rod Argent was the keyboard player, who then went on to have his own band, Argent, who did the original "God Gave Rock and Roll to You" that Kiss covered. They did the original, and "Hold Your Head Up," which is a great record. Russ Ballard was the guitar player in Argent, and he wrote "Since You've Been Gone" for Rainbow and some other hits. But Colin Bluntstone, I think, was the singer here in the Zombies. So "Time of the Season"
they were great. They had like the harmonies like the Beach Boys had. You know what I mean? They had like all of that, just kind of. And they
were a very
a lot of people
band.
don't know the tunes that they did, but more people do know this band and don't realize it probably.
Time of the Season is a great record. And I saw Rod Argent play with Ringo Starr in his all-star band. So he did do all those hits that they had. It was nice. Yeah, he had a great Hammond organ sound.
I had a 1963 Hammond.
Not very portable though, are they? Not very portable.
No, they're so heavy.
They're
so heavy.
Yeah, you had somebody else.
One more that I wanted to mention. This later on, it's like post grunge scene, late 90s. But I don't know if he counts now based on he's more like indie rock, like singer songwriter kind of. But Elliot Smith.
Oh, Elliot Smith. I've seen him live.
You got to see him live.
I saw him live. Yeah, it's so tragic as well. He's.
I know. Yeah, he took his own life.
Yeah, I saw him live in Edinburgh.
A lot of people know him from the Good Will Hunting soundtrack.
Yeah,
because he had music on, in that movie on the soundtrack, and I guess that's where he got a little bit of his,
yeah, so he got a little bit of success from that and on TV. But I saw him live in Edinburgh. Beautiful gig.
Jealous.
It was brilliant.
His music is just he's something else.
It's a sad loss.
And what? Sad loss. Yeah, it was absolutely. And then one more. And they got kind of big, I guess. Not really though. Is Connor Oberst? He did the band Bright Eyes. I don't know if anyone.
I know the Art Garfunkel song "Bright Eyes."
Well, this is not.
I remember the band Bright Eyes.
So hang on.
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, it's Connor Oberst. He was the whole band pretty much.
Connor. CUNOR.
OBERST.
I got to do this live. I'm prepared. This the gentleman.
It should say Bright Eyes. Yeah.
Oh, he married Winona Ryder.
He did?
I don't know. It just says Connor Oberst, Winona Ryder.
He might have been dating her. I didn't know that.
He's kissing her. She's.
They were married. They fucked.
There's the Bright Eyes Band.
When his first album came out, he was getting I mean, like Bruce Springsteen, Bob Dylan. There were all these really old like heads like giving him credit, and yeah, Miss Misery deleting scenes. That's it. Elliot Smith one. But he's an amazing musician.
I'm making a note of that.
Oh yeah, check him out definitely. And he's done like he's done albums that are like different styles.
Sounds a bit like Ryan Adams, not Brian, Ryan, Ryan, Ryan Adams. He's very diverse range of sounds. He's good. I like Ryan Adams. But yeah, the Elliot Smith album Figure Eight is the one that I really love. That's a great album. Figure Eight.
I like Either Or.
Yeah.
Either Or.
But yeah, I was lucky enough to see him.
Oh gosh, I'm so jealous of you for that. And I lived in Boston.
Right place, right time.
That time period, and I didn't get to see him.
Cool. Thanks for the suggestions, Courtney. And Nick, my friend, I'm sure you got a couple of suggestions for overlooked or underlooked bands, as I would say.
Yeah, I would say
just a couple.
Yeah, oh god, I could go for days. And trying to simplify is very tough, so I'll try to do no more than 5 and try to be quick about them. Obviously, Cro-Mags, as far as like for me, when I think of punk, I think of the really hard punk like DRI, Verbal Abuse, Discharge, and Cro-Mags is more of the hardcore. They had the album called The Age of Quarrel, and The Age of Quarrel is a fantastic album. Joseph John was their vocalist on this album, and the dude's a fucking legend, and he's still a legend to this day, and the tunes still hold up lyrically in more ways than you'll ever want to realize. So he very prophetic messaging going on. And then, oh my God, you put on this stuff, you still want to rage to it. And as far as newer, there's a newer heavy metal band that's come out of California lately. And unfortunately, their name is very inconvenient because they're probably the 1,000,000th band with that same name. I posted in the private chat, but to simplify it, but their name is Fortress. And they put on an album a few months ago called Don't Spare the Wicked. And trust me, this singer's got some pipes. And if I'm talking like traditional heavy metal, like Alcatraz, like priest type of stuff, like you got the super high vocals. And Don't Spare the Wicked is an absolutely kick-ass album. As far as
give me the name of that band again, my friend.
Oh, I posted the private chat. The link is there.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah, like I said, don't look up on Google because there's about 800 million bands with the name Fortress. So this is how you narrow it down the proper way. So that way it's the direct link to them. But seriously, Don't Spare the Wicked is an absolutely kick-ass album. There's a great thrash metal band that dates back to the old school New York days, titled Demolition Hammer. They're like Slayer, Sadist, and they're like on roids. Hey, this is Fortress right here. Don't Spare the Wicked. They just re-released more copies of this album because the original run of the CDs actually ran out. So they actually messaged me on Instagram and say, hey, just so you know, you want a CD, right? Well, we restock CDs. So they got CDs, they got shirts, and they got one album, and then they did a split with another band called Haunt. But yeah, Fortress kick-ass, Demolition Hammer is another kick-ass one. Now, as far as the death metal, like Uber Cookie Monster stuff, there's actually a great one from Canada named Tomb Mold. And Tomb Mold is really, really like nasty.
TOMB?
Yeah, Tomb Mold. They have Manner of Infinite Forms and Planetary Clairvoyance. And this is for people who like this stuff, like super, super like, ooh, type of stuff. So,
is this them?
Yep, this is Tomb Mold. I saw them in 2019. Their drummer does the vocals. And if you like video games like Bloodborne, a lot of their lyrics are based off of content from Bloodborne type of stuff.
Oh, nice.
That's as far as the death metal goes. And now as far as an old school thrash metal, another old school thrash I'm going to go with. Great. My brain just blanked out on me. Oh, X-Hoarder. Mm-hmm. And no, this is the band, and I had to say, not because they're my favorite, HORD. But
let's come up with it,
yeah. They had an album called Slaughter in the Vatican, and this is very important because a lot of people know who Pantera were. They were a huge band in the 90s, but X-Hoarder is the
Good
one
Dallas
who
band,
created,
Dallas-based band.
X-Hoarder created the sound Pantera did. Now, if you look at early photos of Pantera when they were on the rise, you could see Pantera's vocalist Philip Anselmo wearing X-Hoarder shirts. Now, there's been the whole conspiracy: did Pantera steal their sound, X-Hoarder sound? That's obviously a great debate that will probably never end. But you should listen to their first album, Slaughter in the Vatican. Came out on a label called Roadrunner Records. Yeah, Slaughter in the Vatican. This album is what, trust me, when you listen to this, you're gonna swear you thought you were listening to Pantera. I'm not like, you're like, hold up. There's like, because when Pantera started out, they started as like more of like a glam rock type of band.
Yeah.
It was this album where they made the big, this is the album that inspired them to make the big change towards what you would hear on like Vulgar Display of Power or Far Beyond Driven or The Great Southern Treadkill. X-Hoarder, Slaughtered in Vatican. This is the album you need to listen to. And you're, like I said, it's going to throw you off.
Looks good, mate.
But yeah, that's the
fun
one.
trivia for you. Pantera do the Dallas Stars goal song.
Yes, they
That
did.
they play after they score a goal. Pantera, puck off.
Yeah. Nah,
this looks good, mate.
Voivod?
Yeah, obviously Away is a hell of a drummer, and they actually just put out a new album last week that I've been meaning to listen to. So hopefully I can get a chance to listen, because I saw them 6 years ago with Napalm Death, and Voivod were absolutely killer live. So hopefully one day. Yeah, hopefully one
Thanks
day.
for that, Nick.
Yeah, no, my pleasure. I'll shut up now so everyone else can speak, and I will be at home listening to you guys. So you guys carry the show so I can listen to responsible Nickweiser stuff. But a pleasure to meet.
Are you leaving?
I do. I know. Trust me. I hate leaving. But
hang on.
As I suspected, 32 flavors.
Wakizashi. Did I say that right? Wakizashi.
Yeah.
Did I say that right? A pleasure to meet you, sir. To Salty Texas Sea, of course. Nice seeing Darius and Courtney, always as per usual. And 70s dude, we're gonna rage tomorrow for Major League Toxic Tuesday. I can't wait.
I'll be there, mate.
I can't wait. It's gonna be good to have you back, because we'll also have Tom joining us, and we'll also have Gary from Pop Culture Minefield joining us as well.
Cool.
So prepare for a very toxic Tuesday.
I have missed it, my friend. I'm looking forward to it.
We've missed you, but anyways, have a great day. Have a great night.
Thanks for joining me.
You too, Nick.
Great to meet you, mate. Great to meet you.
Nice to meet you. All right, till we do this again.
And we will. So, cheers, Nick. Thanks, buddy. Good one. Thanks for joining. Darius, my friend, have you got any little treats that you'd like to share with us that we should listen to?
As far as Underlooked bands?
Yeah. Anything.
I guess, I used to be really into power metal. I would say Stratovarius is a band that influenced like the entire genre of power metal that is probably old enough that
there they are.
People might not. no, Strato like
robbery with violence.
Yeah, it's like that, but like Stratosphere, right? And they got a lot of great, archetypal power metal jams.
I'm gonna write that down too. Stratovarius.
Where are they from?
Sweden, I think.
Okay, yeah, they look like
maybe Finland.
I think they might be from Finland, but it's hard to tell because.
Cool.
Okay.
So it's Finnish guitarist, but they could be Swedish, and he's just Finnish.
Oh, well, they could be. There's a lot of great bands from Finland.
Did you ever like a Turbo Negro?
They're
a Finnish band, I believe.
It's funny. Memnock, I think, brought them up when we were on T-Shirt Historians channel talking about it. But no, I'm actually not familiar with that band. I think I've heard them back in the college radio days. I would also say Yngwie Malmsteen is pretty influential, but I don't know how many people really remember him. He basically made neoclassical style metal the thing back in the 80s.
Indeed.
I've never been able to. High school, yeah, Turbo Jugend. That's what they used to call the thing.
I've never been able to spell his name.
Oh, Yngvie.
There we go. Yeah, he's one I've certainly listened to quite a bit. Was he the one that did the Crossroads movie soundtrack? Played the devil, or was that Steve Vai?
I think that was Steve Vai.
That was Steve Vai.
Maybe.
Okay.
Oh, great movie, man. Great movie.
Oh, yeah, I love that movie.
The Karate Kid was in it, wasn't he?
So it's hard to imagine Ralph Macchio as this great guitar player, but, you know.
Darius, how do you pronounce it?
Ingvi.
Malmsteen.
Okay.
As far as Michigan bands, I'd say Black Dahlia Murder is pretty well known, but not as big as they should be. You know, because they've been very consistent for years.
It's like I saw them with As I Lay Dying.
Oh, nice.
I don't know if you remember that band.
These guys.
Black Dahlia Murder is really good.
Yeah.
For newer stuff, that was like
cool.
It's rare for me to like that newer stuff.
Yeah,
cool.
No, they work really hard. They just go in there and kill it, and then they get drunk.
Nice suggestions, mate. It's nice because you guys are all saying why you like them. It's I think that's important, you know.
Oh, one of my favorite Bands from Japan that no one's ever heard
you're
of.
Done now. You're finished.
It's called Boris. You ever heard of Boris?
Boris.
Yeah, just Boris.
I have not.
Oh, I do like the double neck guitars.
Oh wow,
double neck guitars.
They're pretty versatile. They've done a whole bunch of different styles over their career, and they've even worked with Merzbow. I don't know if you heard of him. He's like a Japanese noise artist. He's very prolific.
I'm going to look up into that one, mate, because I love those twin necked guitars.
That picture right there is just super
freaking
cool.
awesome.
Yeah, look at that. I'm feeling very ignorant right now. You guys, you know so much about the Japanese like metal and rock scene. I've no idea about any of these.
So what, Gray, what would you be into these days, Gray, that you would like to share musically?
I've been listening to a little bit of, do you know the Manchester band called The Doves? The Doves, D-O-V-S, yeah. I mean, they've been going for a long time. I keep going back to the old stuff. Do you know what I mean?
I might even have seen them actually at festivals.
Okay, I saw them in Heaton Park, I think, a long time ago when I was living in Manchester.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I've seen them at a couple of festivals. Yeah,
they had a recent album out. It was nice. It's good if you like that kind of stuff.
Cool.
But yeah, just listening to the old classics like putting Zeppelin on or the Beatles. I've got back into Jean-Michel Jarre. You know, the electronic.
Oh God, that's funny you should
man.
mention that because I just played. I've got a radio channel and I played a Jean-Michel Jarre on the stream I did the other day.
Oh wow!
Were you okay?
Did you get hit?
So good.
The only thing I got hit on for that entire stream was King Crimson.
No way.
Yeah.
It's the only one that got blocked. Everything else was claimed but not blocked. So, Jean-Michel Jarre, I love him. I love that stuff. Yeah.
Oh, me too. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, appreciate that.
I'm a big fan of that long form instrumental stuff and like Mike Oldfield and things like that. So
yeah, great stuff.
Cool. So I probably have a million bands, but if I'm going to talk about classic bands, I'd go to 10cc. Everyone needs to listen to old 10cc more.
Which you can hear on that 70s Rock Fan Radio.
Fantastic band.
I have another older one that's overlooked. The Nerds. You probably know them.
The Nerds. Know them. I was. Oh, the like Nerves.
Yeah, they did Hanging on the Telephone that Blondie ended up covering.
Oh, right. Because that was a cover, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I vaguely remember them. I don't think I've ever bought any of the records. Cool. I'm going to write that down.
They have a great song called When You Find Out.
The other band I would always recommend, and again, they're not unknown to people to listen to, that I always feel should have more fans, is Big Star.
Mm-hmm.
Big Star and Alex Chilton. I love Big Star, and I think they need more attention. But, you know, that's an old band as well.
What about the Only One? Did you like the Only Ones?
Only Ones, yep. I've got some Only Ones stuff on compilations. I didn't have any. I'd never bought Another Girl, Another Planet.
Yeah, that was their hit. Another Girl, Another Planet. That's a great song.
Yeah, I've got a lot of new wave stuff, not punk. So that was my stuff. So I'm going to not wrap it up yet, but my voice is starting to go a little bit. But I wanted to finish with a little trivia quiz. Would anyone be interested in that?
I'll try.
Sure.
No buzzers. First to shout out wins. I like finishing on a trivia quiz, so let's see if I can find the one I was going to do. Oh, right, here we go. Let's try this. These are mainly classic rock, so and the chat can join in too, of course. Pentagram. I remember Pentagram, kind of folk prog.
That's my high school friend, by the way.
All right, hey.
Nice
to meet you, high school friend.
He knew me in my punk rock days.
I'm assuming he means Pentagram, the folk prog band. Or he or she. They. So, question number 1. Which classic rock album is sometimes said to be a soundtrack to The Wizard of Oz?
The Wall.
Dark Side of the Moon?
Dark Side of the Moon.
Shoot. That was dumb.
Yeah. Although Nick Mason himself said that's nonsense. It was all based on The Sound of Music. So
I have watched them together, and there are some things that are oddly coincidental, but I think it's mostly,
I think it's coincidental. People wanted to believe. Yeah.
Yeah.
What did Queen vocalist Freddie Mercury attribute his enhanced vocal range to?
He was a castrati, wasn't he?
Castrati. Well, I don't think so. It was in Bohemian Rhapsody, but in the movie.
John Taylor used to grab his balls during the singing.
I wouldn't let go. It was his extra teeth. He had 4 extra teeth, so that's why he had a weird kind of jaw structure.
Oh.
What band's lead singer, and he's been mentioned tonight, is credited with popularizing stage diving? Somebody here has seen him with his band.
Yeah. Would it be Motorhead? Would it be Lemmy?
Lemmy.
No.
No?
Lemmy never stage dived.
I don't think he did either, but we were talking about him.
Rob Halford.
No. I'll have to say it was Iggy Pop. The Stooges.
I mentioned Steve. I love Iggy Pop. He's like one of my favorites.
Well, you said you'd seen him, so.
I know. I've seen him solo, and I saw Iggy and the Stooges.
Wookiee supremacy seems to think Freddie Mercury's thing was...
Wookiee! Oh my God!
Mark got the answer right, though. Right. Here's one of my favorite questions. I always ask this trivia question. Which or who is the only member of ZZ Top who doesn't have a beard?
Oh, Frank Beard.
Frank Beard, correct. Yes. Frank Beard.
That's funny.
The drummer.
Frank Beard does not have a beard.
I was going to say the drummer, but I didn't know his name was Frank Beard.
Yeah, Dusty Hill may not have a beard now either, but that's because he's dead.
R.I.P.
R.I.P. indeed. So, which Beatle crossed Abbey Road barefoot?
Paul McCartney.
Paul McCartney.
Correct. Paul McCartney.
That was an easy one, thank God. Whew.
It was.
Who once kicked Jimi Hendrix out of his band?
Oh.
Eric Clapton? No.
Oh. Let's not forget that Jimmy, before he became Jimmy, was playing in R&B bands.
Right.
Famous rock and roller of the old school.
Little Richard?
Little Richard, correct.
Oh.
Yes. He threw him out. How many encores did Elvis Presley give, usually?
3.
0.
0 is the correct answer. They put the lights up and Elvis has left the building.
Oh, yeah.
So which English rock band at one time or another contained Jeff Beck, Jimmy Page, and Eric Clapton?
The Yardbirds.
Yardbirds.
The Yardbirds.
Oh,
The Yardbirds.
Darius.
Page and Beck were in the band at the same time for about 6 months. Here's a good one. The Doors got their name from which book by which author?
Oh, The Doors of Perception by Aldous Huxley.
Aldous Huxley.
Someone's got a bell and they rang.
I think we all knew that one. I got a copy right over here on my bookshelf.
Awesome, mate.
Yeah, good one. I think Darius is in the lead with.
Darius is flying.
Darius is flying. How many times were Linkin Park rejected by record labels?
Ooh.
And I'll give you 4 choices: 11, 22, 33, or 44.
Wow.
33.
33.
No.
It's a lucky number.
Not 33.
44?
44 is the
No
answer.
way.
No points
No
for that, though,
way.
because no points.
Yeah.
Which band got its name by taking the first letter of each band member's name? We've seen a
Milf.
picture of them. We've seen a picture of them.
Oh, God. ABBA.
Correct. It's ABBA.
Oh, my God. Spot the ABBA fan. Oh, no.
Yeah.
It's all over.
I was just about to sing one of their songs, but you got it.
I didn't know that.
What did Nirvana frontman Kurt Cobain wear to his wedding?
Flannel shirt. Oh, no. A wedding dress.
Yeah, a dress, a one-piece dress. Oh, a kilt.
It was
Scottish.
pajamas.
Oh.
Green pajamas.
Pretty grunge.
Green pajamas.
No, Snail Messiah knew the ABBA question.
Who got what? Sorry?
Snail Messiah in the chat, he knew the ABBA question. He's on
He did, yes.
a delay, but
Yeah, I
he,
know.
he knew that one.
Unfortunately for the chat, that the delay is killing their chance to. I know some of them have got the right answers. I've noticed that. In which song does Mick Jagger sing? Well, he can't be a man because he doesn't smoke the same cigarettes as me.
Oh, Satisfaction.
No.
Satisfaction.
Satisfaction.
Oh, look at Darius.
Close, close.
We didn't talk about the Stones at all.
I can't get no.
Who
Under my
dances?
thumb.
This is a good one. Who dances with Bruce Springsteen in the music video for Dancing in the Darkness?
Ooh.
Oh.
She got very friendly.
Oh, it's Courtney.
Courtney. It's Courtney. Courtney Cox.
That's right. Do you
Oh,
know
wow.
my dad's girlfriend back in the day got pulled up by Bruce Springsteen to dance during that song?
Oh, really?
Like, story.
Wow.
Yeah.
What a horn
I was
dog.
about to say, Sally.
Right.
That was her name.
This is an easy one because it's a number that's very significant in rock deaths. How old was Jim Morrison when he died?
27.
Correct.
Wow. Yeah, nice. The 27 Club.
Same as Mama
Janis Joplin.
Cass and Janis Joplin and Kurt Cobain.
Yep. There's a bunch more.
On March
think of any
31st,
more now.
1967, during a performance at the London Astoria, Jimi Hendrix did what to his guitar?
He played it with his teeth.
He did do that, but that's not the answer I'm looking for.
Fellatio.
Probably did that too. It's something more less
Set it on-
sexual.
Set it on fire.
Yes, he said on.
Oh,
Oh.
March 31st was a good date.
Yeah. Or you
Day of
might
your
not, this is a fairly obscure one, but I would have got this. But
I
why
did.
did guitarist Jeremy Spencer leave Fleetwood Mac in 1971? So why did he leave?
because of the rumors.
Nice.
Because of the white stuff
Nope.
and his relationship with Nikki Sixx. I mean, Nikki Sixx
Stevie
is
Nicks?
In the future,
Stevie Nicks.
she wasn't in the band then. This is Fleetwood Mac well before Buckingham
Okay.
Nicks.
Peter
This is
Green.
the Peter Green era.
Peter Green time, yeah.
Oh, thank you for correcting. Nikki Sixx.
Well, I'll have to give you the answer. Anyone in the chat, I don't know if anyone in the chat knows, I'll give them a few seconds. Why did Jeremy Spencer leave Fleetwood Mac? But literally walked out the door and did this. He joined a
married.
cult. He joined a cult.
Oh, man.
Specifically the Children of God. He literally walked out the door and went and joined the Children of God. And he's still with them today.
Wow.
Which hotel chain banned The Who for life?
Oh,
Marriott.
Hilton?
No, not the Hilton, not the Marriott.
Regency
Nope.
or
I should know this one because I think didn't it happen in like Ann Arbor? He drove the car into the pool.
I think that was just the icing on the cake. They were tired of losing televisions. It was the Holiday Inn.
Holiday Inn. Okay.
Oh.
Why were Nirvana thrown out of their own record release party for Nevermind? Oh, I've clicked the answers. It
For
dings.
destroying their instruments?
No, much nicer
Fighting?
than that. Kind of. Specific kind of fight.
Wrestling?
A food fight. They started a food fight. Like Animal House. Food fight! Are we okay with these? Want to keep going? I've got a few more.
They didn't mind.
Yeah.
How many? Oh, this is an interesting one. How many live albums did Pearl Jam release in 2000 and 2001?
10.
The answers are 2, 7, 27, or 72.
72.
72 is correct.
No way.
Because they decided to release a live album for every concert they did.
Oh, wow.
One or two of them even made the charts.
I said 10 because the album was 10 back in the day. I was trying to be funny.
Yeah.
No
What
one
was the
laughed.
first rock and roll song to hit #1 on the American charts?
First
Hound
rock
Dog.
and roll.
Oh.
song.
Sorry, Darius, what did you say?
No, I'm just repeating the question. The first rock and roll song to hit #1 on the American chart.
On the Billboard American charts.
Jailhouse Rock.
Nope. Wasn't Elvis.
Okay.
You might not get this because you're all young.
Tutti Frutti.
Nope.
Nice.
It was Rock Around the Clock by Bill Haley and the Comets.
Oh,
That's a good one.
I should have guessed from Happy Days. Yeah.
Yeah. Here's an interesting
Oh, people in the chat knew that one.
Yep. Who got that? Eric K got that. Salty
And
Texas
Salty.
C got that. Yep.
Salty, Eric K.
So, which Aerosmith song was nominated both for Best Original Song at the Oscars and Worst Original Song at the Razzies?
Don't want to miss a thing.
That is correct.
Nice. Of course.
Best and the worst. Good one. I think I got a few more, a handful more. Whose son became the Who's drummer in 1996? Not this drummer, but who was his father? Whose son became the Who's drummer in 1996?
John Bonham? Jason Bonham?
Nope.
Pete Best?
Good guess, but not him. But good guess. Slightly more, even more famous than that. Probably the most famous drummer in any
Ringo
band
Starr?
in the world. Ringo Starr, yeah. Ringo's son, Zach Starkey, is the Who's drummer.
Ah, Zach Starkey, that's it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Who's played with the Oasis as well. And
Yeah, that's
other bands.
right.
This is a good one. What is the name of the Muppet modelled after Bruce Springsteen?
Animal?
No.
Oh, wait.
Miss Piggy.
The boss.
No.
Something boss.
It's
Dr.
Bruce,
T.
it's Bruce something.
Bruce Wayne.
No, Bruce Stringbean, who's backed by the S Street Band.
People used to also call him Bruce Bed Springs because you could get a girl into bed with his music.
Yeah. Got a couple more. Are we good for a couple more? You bored yet?
Yeah.
Who was the original lead singer of AC/DC who died in 1980?
Oh,
Bon
Johnson.
Scott.
No.
Bon Scott.
What?
Bon Scott.
Thinking of
Speaking of drummers, what legendary rock band had a drummer nicknamed Bonzo?
Rush.
Oh, Jesus. That was John Bonham, wasn't it? Led Zeppelin.
John Bonham, Led Zeppelin.
John Bonham, what a legend.
Brian May, the lead guitarist of Queen, earned a PhD in which subject in 2007?
Psychology.
Nope.
Drinking Guinness.
That was his minor. This was his major.
Teaching.
No, he has a PhD
Medicine.
in
Culinary
astronomy.
arts.
And he is actually a really major astronomer.
Red shirt was really close. He said astrophysics.
Very close. Yes.
Oh, just another red shirt. Nice one.
What is Bono's real name? No, it's not asshole, which I think it would be.
Knobhead.
Knobhead is correct. No, it's a good answer, but what is Bono's real name?
Seamus. I'm just going with an Irish.
Diddly 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 potatoes. It's Paul Hewson. Which famous rock band has a drummer with only one arm?
Oh, Def Leppard.
Def Leppard.
Oh, you beat me.
You all got that right.
Everybody got it.
Yep.
Everybody.
I see.
Which rock band is Rick Nielsen the guitarist for?
Oh.
Gray should get this.
Courtney, come on. Come on, you've almost got it.
Which rock band is Rick Nielsen the lead guitarist of?
Oh my god.
Oh my god, toxic.
Cheap Trick. Cheap Trick. I can't believe that it was so,
nice.
Yeah. Surrender.
Couple more.
Is one. I got Surrender. It's a good song. My mother's calling me.
I'm Just a Singer in a Rock and Roll Band. It was a 1973 hit for which rock band?
1970.
It's a band we don't mention much.
Well, it's not Slade then.
It's not Slade. I'm Just a Singer in a Rock and Roll Band.
MC5. I don't know.
I'm just waiting to see if anybody in the chat gets it. Seaman Cock Gobbler was Bono's
One
real
Direction.
name.
Oh my god, Molly Crew has a drummer with 3 legs.
E. Clay Thompson has the answer.
E. Clay Thompson, Moody Blues.
The Moody Blues.
Oh.
The Bloody Moose.
That's the best comment ever.
The Bluesy Moose.
I'm looking for good ones because which rock group's third album, Wheels of Fire, became the world's first platinum-selling double album?
Oh man,
I know these are all a bit old, but
no,
I'm a bit old.
I think I should know this one.
Wheels of Fire. Toxic Manflu says Bay City Rollers in the chat.
No, but I have heard them rehearse once when I was a kid.
Oh.
It was Cream.
Oh yes, yeah.
Come on. Should have known that, man.
Okay.
I forgot that one.
Which rock song was named the best-selling digital download track in the 20th century? Or from the 20th century? Most downloaded track, rock song from the 20th century.
Bohemian Rhapsody, as a guess.
It is a good guess,
That is a
but
good
that's
guess.
not. I'll tell you, it's an American band.
Oh.
Featured in lots of sports events and soundtracks of films. The
We Will Rock You?
Sopranos.
Oh, Journey.
No, that's the same band.
Journey. Don't Stop Believing.
Oh,
no way. Whoa.
I just remember they were the last scene of Sopranos. Never was mad.
Several members of which rock band were killed in a plane crash on October 20th, 1977?
Leonard Skinner.
That is correct. Skinner.
Oh. Well done.
The lyrics of which classic rock song tell the story of the burning down of the Montreux Casino in Switzerland in 1971?
Oh,
Smoke on the Water.
Smoke on the Water.
Deep Purple.
Bam, bam, bam.
Which former member of the Runaways, great band by the way, had a #1 hit in 1982 with I Love Rock and Roll?
Joan Jett.
Joan Jett, yeah.
Correct.
Yeah, very fast.
My girl.
It's original. That was a cover version. It was originally a British band did that. Can't remember their name right now, but
what's the score? Darius is on what?
Darius
55?
He's
Gray's on
about
2.
Darius is about 5,000. I'm on minus 12.
Courtney, come on, we can do it. We can do
I think
it.
the chat are winning actually, but
Oh, the band that does I Love Rock and Roll. Is that what I'm trying to think of? The original band?
No, you already.
No, I'm trying to think of their name. It's just trivia.
No, I don't know. Sorry.
The Archers or something, or it'll come back to me. Arrow. They were called Arrow, and they did the original. Which founding member of Pink Floyd left the band in 1968?
Syd Barrett.
Yeah.
Correct. And that was the last one I had. So at the end of that quiz, I'd say Darius has probably edged it, and Courtney and Gray are probably equal, and the chat are probably well ahead.
Now that you've said it that way, Toxic is going to make a joke about edging.
Thanks, Courtney.
As long as it's not a joke about fisting, we're okay. So I'm going to wrap it up now, folks. It's been 2 hours, 20 minutes. I think my voice is held out. I cannot express my thanks enough to you guys for joining me on this. Courtney, Darius, Gray, Salty, Nick, Paulie Latino Slant earlier. You've made this a great show. I hope you've all enjoyed it.
I have had so much fun, you know that.
Yeah, I'm glad. It's great to just talk about music, share our experiences. We'll do it again soon. I'd love to thank the chat. I'm not going to go through them all individually because my voice is going. Toxic does have a comment though.
Smoking mushrooms.
You can't smoke shrooms.
Metallica, Sentient Dildo, Mark D with a C, Salty Texas is back in there. Hi LDG, Toxic Man Flu. I can't go back up further, can I?
Kitty Bear. I saw Anonymous, One Man Show, Darth Scipio,
Sentient Dildo,
Glee Thomason,
Dildo. That's my buddy Tim. Wookie.
Eric
I saw Ashley was here earlier. Kai, MFS.
Snail Messiah.
Small Messiah. One man show. And
the lovely Sherry.
The lovely Sherry was here.
Oh yeah, Sherry was here.
I hate missing people. Zoe guys. Zoe guys.
Zoe guys. His name's Tim. That's my buddy. Low spec Linux laptop is here. And
I don't know the Bush Tetras. I don't know if that's a band or just a job hazard for you, Sentient, but a work hazard.
Soul Assassin.
Just another red shirt. Nice one.
Just another red shirt, yeah.
Red shirt, yeah. Canadian Spider-Man was here.
Canadian Spider-Man, good friend.
Yeah. Great to meet everybody tonight.
Soul Assassin. Cool. Some guy called was Zaki's Tea House. Oh no, that's Gray.
Thank you.
Deleted Scenes was here, Stephen.
Deleted Scenes.
Mm-hmm. Mark D.
Captain Marty Spock.
Here,
yeah.
Who is a fantastic streamer. Pope Metallicus was here.
Great turnout. Purple Valkyrie.
I know, Purple Valkyrie. And we must stream again, Purple. Invite me to your show anytime. We had a great show the other day with Meatloaf.
There are a lot of people
Disaster
here.
Area.
Wow.
If I've missed anyone, I apologize. Thank you all for joining. Chat was on fire.
Sub to my channel, please.
So I'd like to wish you all good night. Courtney, have you got anything you want to promote?
Not at the moment, because you put me on the spot and I can't think of anything.
Well, we'll see you again soon, somewhere.
Yeah, I'll be around.
Darius, anything for you?
Well, I'm going to try to go live in about a half hour. It'll probably be more like an hour. And yeah, come over to my channel and check it out.
Yes, I'll try to be there, mate. Gray, my new good friend, and I hope I hope we'll be streaming again in the future. You're always welcome.
Great to meet you. Thank you so much. Great to meet you. It was lucky for me because I've got a morning off work. It's normally work time for me in Japan, so it's 9:30 in the morning at the moment on Tuesday morning.
All right.
We live in the future over here.
You're transmitting from the future.
Yeah.
Could you tell me last night's lottery numbers?
No, I don't know. The future's cold and snowy. Thanks so much for letting me drop in. I've got a channel that does like comic book reviews and sort of pop culture, movie talk, and I'm very new to YouTube, so I appreciate it. Wakizashi's Tea House.
I think I may have. Let's put that in the chat before we pack it in. A link.
Oh, that's
to
okay.
It.
No, don't worry about it. Thanks a lot, man.
Oh,
Thanks.
We got it in there. Sherry and I put the link in there.
I've had you and Courtney and on my bot. My bot has you.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Thanks, great. It's been awesome to meet you.
Yeah, it was really fun hanging out with you.
Let's do it again.
Love to.
Yeah, you guys have a great night. Everyone in the chat have a great night. We will see you again soon. Till then, keep on rocking, and I will try and find my playing out music. So, cheerio.